Naruto had always been a fun and mischievous boy, despite his loneliness. He tried to be cheerful even when he was unbearable. He was often laughed at the academy. They thought he was nothing but a fool. Only a few noticed the mask he always wore to attract attention. But today, for the first time in his conscious life, Uzumaki was not wearing it. The boy walked crestfallen and constantly looked out the window, specifically at the moon, which was almost invisible due to the daylight. Naruto paid no attention to the taunts and jeers of his classmates, nor to his eternal enemy, Sasuke, whom everyone in his class was clinging to trying to befriend him, nor to Iruka, who was trying to reprimand him for not doing his homework. He answered all questions dryly and uninterestedly. He hadn't smiled once all morning. His head had nothing but thoughts about what he had seen the night before. "Hey, Uzumaki, is everything okay?" It took Naruto a moment to realize that someone had addressed him. He turned around and noticed that it was just him and the Shikamaru Nara who had addressed him in the classroom. "Recess," the blonde remembered. "Huh. Yeah, I'm fine. You don't sleep at night either." Why the question, Naruto guessed immediately. "Did you see that?" "Yeah, it was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. They may look so small, but I think these things are huge up close." Naruto got excited as he remembered the creatures flying across the moon. "Shikamaru, did you see something fall on the moon, and then something else that looked like a shooting star fell somewhere over the horizon?" I didn't see anything hit the moon, but I did see a shooting star." "Strange. I couldn't sleep, I felt something strange and I felt like going out to the balcony." Naruto took a sheet of paper out of his bag and drew a triangle with dots around it and the moon. "That's more or less how the thing fell. I must have gone out too late. All I saw were those strange creatures." "That's it. How did you know I saw them too?" "You keep looking at the moon, so I guessed." "Well, you did." The bell rang and the classroom filled with children again. Shikamaru offered to chat for a while longer, inviting him to play shogi sometime, a game only old men played, Naruto thought. The third Hokage had taught him to play it, but other than the old man himself, he had no one to play it with, so he rarely played. The third elder praised him, though. After class, Naruto didn't go home like he wanted to. The boy again felt something strange and exciting. He found it. Someone or something was calling him towards the forest. The boy turned his head, trying to find the source of the voice. "Find Bridger," the voice repeated. And there he went. A few hours ago. The forest outside Konoha. Where am I? Ezra woke up in a dense forest near a small river with a swift current. Right. He remembered being thrown from the bridge. And when he fell, he used the force to cushion himself. Apparently, it didn't do much good. As he recovered, he heard muffled rustling and grunting sounds in the bushes. The Jedi took notice and braced himself. The beast leapt out of the bushes and pounced on the boy. But, clearly, he did not expect it to strike back. An unknown force threw him away from his victim. The huge bear went through a 100-year-old tree with its carcass. Bridger had to be sure. "Are you hungry?" The question was rhetorical. Before the bear pounced on him again, Ezra caught a few fish and threw them in front of him. Then, the beast decided to take revenge. However, smelling the aroma of fresh fish, he decided to opt for an easier way to refresh himself. "I'm not looking for conflict." Ezra stretched his arm forward and concentrated on the force. The bear sensed this and turned away from its meal. The beast did not feel threatened by the man. It seemed to have decided in its animal mind that it would not attack him again, even if it was hungry, for it had decided to put its muzzle under the young Jedi's hand. The beast slowly removed its snout from his hand and continued to savor the fresh fish. "You're as good with animals as ever, Ezra." Such a familiar voice, but it seemed like he had heard it a long time ago. Bridger turned and saw his mentor. He glowed blue, like a hologram. A Jedi robe similar to the one Obi-Wan Kenobi wore on Tatooine and white eyes, something that distinguished his current image and the one he remembered from when his master was still alive. Kanan. She wanted to hug him, but realized it was impossible. She limited herself to a loud cry. "You have done well. I am proud of you. You learned from the best. As you realized, I'm here for a reason." As he spoke, Ezra was gathering wood and building a fire. You're here for a reason too. Me. The Force brought you here to train a child. He has the potential to both save and destroy the world. Not just on this planet, not just in this galaxy, but in our own. The boy set fire to the twigs with a lighter on his belt. I'm supposed to make a Jedi out of him, but I haven't finished my training yet. That's right, I'm here to complete your training. Ezra hesitated. But how? Patience, apprentice. The mentor began to dissolve. Kanan. Wait here, he'll be here soon. See you later, Ezra. He said the last words when he had completely melted into the Force. The apprentice was sitting by the fire, holding a stick with a fish on it, and only the Force was with him, because the bear was already elsewhere. Naruto made his way through the dense thickets, not thinking at all that he was being led in the direction he was going. The silence of the forest irritated him. Finally, he heard the sound of the river. And then the smell of frying fish. He was close. Emerging from the bushes, he immediately saw the man and the fire, and his hungry stomach saw the fish. Bridger. Uzumaki asked shyly. So you know my name? Huh. Why is your voice in my head, old man? Naruto heard some unintelligible sounds coming out of Bridger's mouth, but Bridger was speaking normally in his head. It's one of the skills I'm going to teach you. And I'm not really old, I'm only 19 years old. Ezra sketched a soft smile. With the power he could communicate with animals and creatures whose language he didn't know. Why are you going to teach me, Bridger-san? What are you going to teach me? You're a shinobi, aren't you? First, let's introduce ourselves to each other. I'm Ezra Bridger, and I'm not a shinobi. I'm a Jedi. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'll be Hokage in the future. And I'll be the strongest shinobi in history. And you want to be the strongest Jedi on top of that. I'm not the strongest Jedi, but I'm strong enough to teach you. What are Jedi? Jedi are those who keep world peace and fight against evil. Watch. Ezra concentrated and held out his hand. Naruto looked in the same direction and saw a big rock fly up. Wow. The Jedi use the Force to protect the weak. What is the Force, Ezra-san? As my teacher told me, the Force is the energy field created by all living things that surrounds us, is within us, and binds the galaxy together. In short, the Force is everywhere. And it is especially strong in you, Naruto. Ezra-san, teach me, please. Naruto crossed his palms in a pleading gesture in front of him and bowed. That's why I'm here, Naruto. Sit down, let's eat. Captain Enoch, come in. Grand Admiral. What's your status, Captain? Thrawn was walking down the path, surrounded by 5 stormtroopers and a bridge officer. Most of the bridge crew is dead. The ship is badly damaged, but there are no oxygen leaks. There are enough supplies to last several years. Personnel losses, 70%. Equipment losses, 80%. What are your orders? Abandon ship with all supplies, equipment, transport and everything else and proceed to your designated destination. I'm waiting for you. Yes. The transmitter was heard and then turned off. Grand Admiral, what are our next steps? It's too early to consider that. Remember, our main objective is to return to our home galaxy, Lieutenant. Episode 2. An 8-year-old Shinobi Academy student, Uzumaki Naruto Uzumaki, witnesses the crash of an Imperial ship. The boy is sensitive to the Force, thanks to which he finds Ezra Bridger, who decides to accept him as an apprentice to save the world from an unknown threat. Meanwhile, Grand Admiral Thrawn establishes a fortress for his future comfort on an unknown planet. When you play with a pro, even if it's a kid, you don't stand a chance of winning. How do you play with a pro? You just have to be cunning and unpredictable. Of course, you won't win, but if you play outside the box, every loss will bring your future victory closer. That's exactly the kind of player Naruto was. He never got a single win in shogi. But not because he was a weak player. It's just that Naruto's opponents were only professionals. Haha, Naruto, you've lost 10 times in a row. Sakura laughed for the umpteenth time. The boys tried not to pay attention to her shouting or the booing of the other spectators. The few people watching the match were silent. Sakura, you shouldn't laugh at Naruto. Everyone's attention was on Shino. Because if you were to play against Shikamaru, you would lose faster than Naruto by a factor of 4. Shino is right, none of you will even come close to making me sweat like Naruto does. Sakura was embarrassed, but the others kept joking and laughing. No one. Suddenly, the Uchiha, who had been sitting in his seat, glancing at the game from time to time, spoke up. Sasuke-san. The girls began to squeal, calling for their idol to punish the arrogant Naru. The boys were not left out either and cheered the girls on. If you beat Uzumaki, I'll play with you. That goes for the others too. I don't play with amateurs. The class perked up immediately. Everyone was clearly betting on the Uchiha's victory. Sasuke-kun, crush him. Ino shouted. Sasuke-san, show them. Shouted the crowd. Choose, Sentei or Goto, black or white. He decided to give the choice to the scion of the great clan. Do you want to play from defense to counterattack, Sasuke-chan? The Uchiha let out a TSUF in response to such an insult, but didn't bother to point it out. The other boys, on the other hand, merely roared at such disrespect. Of course, no one would dare address the son of the head of the most powerful and respected clan in the village like that. Let's see how you sing after defeat, Yujiro Tonkachi, dumb hammer. I choose goat. The crowd cheered in support of Sasuke. You should do it. I am not allowed to take the first step, Uchiha. Then less words and more deeds, Uzumaki. The battle has begun. Naruto made his move and the bell rang. Do you surrender? The blonde smiled in satisfaction. Shikamaru jumped with laughter at such a clever move by Uzumaki. According to the rules, you can't offer a draw. You either checkmate the king or surrender to your opponent. Iruka entered the classroom and Naruto smiled. How are you doing? You knew it was nearing the end of the break, that. You knew it too, didn't you? Fair enough. Did you give up? Okay, but I didn't lose to you, I lost to me, you idiot. I give up. That's noble of you. Some game isn't worth class time, baka. The students sat down and started whispering. If it wasn't for the bell, Sasuke-san would have won. Said someone a little louder than the rest. Naruto, you're a genius. Nara said from the back of the desk. It doesn't take much brains to beat the Uchiha. The blonde smiled back. Sasuke cackled again, berating himself for his stupidity. Naruto, turn around. And stop talking. Write down the subject of the lesson. See you tomorrow. Uzumaki shouted and ran away. Bye, Naruto. Choji waved to Shikamaru. I didn't know Naruto was so cool. When you don't pay attention to someone, you don't know much about them. Replied the young Nara like a wise old man. Naruto, meanwhile, turned the corner and ran off into the forest. His mentor was already talking to his teacher. How exactly will my training be completed? Patience, Ezra. Concentrate. The Force will show you what you want to see. Bridger closed his eyes and sat in a meditative pose. A minute later, he found himself in a familiar place. He had been here before. With Ahsoka. It was as if Ezra was in space, where there were an infinite number of paths like the one he was treading. This is where I will give you your final lesson. Kanan activated his lightsaber and went on the attack. I won't fight you, I don't even have a sword. Said Bridger, dodging the master's onslaught. Then you will die. What is this nonsense? I don't understand. Kanan used a jolt of power and Ezra fell to infinity. Soon after, he found himself in the place of one of the memories, in Kessel. Where he freed the little Wookiee from his shackles. It was also where Agent Kalos stumped him. Master and apprentice. Ezra wanted to continue the sentence, but remembered it had been in the past. It also seemed odd that he was in the skin of his 15-year-old self. His musings were interrupted by the Phantom, where Kanan stood with his lightsaber. He masterfully deflected Kalos' shots and disarmed him. After which the Master began to attack again. You have saved and protected many throughout your life, Ezra. However, you have almost always had to sacrifice yourself for others, because you were weak to protect both others and yourself. And so, isn't that the right thing to do? Ezra used the Force to stop his sword from cutting him in half. A dead Jedi cannot defend the world. The Master was thrown back by the student and they were once again in the world between worlds. Now you are alone in a strange world, unarmed. In addition to yourself, you must protect the boy. You cannot sacrifice yourself. What are you going to do? After saying that, he went on the attack once again. But now Ezra was determined. He threw his mentor 20 meters away with a strong kick. I'm going to train. And from this day forward, I will not sacrifice myself, Kanan. Bridger forcibly grabbed the sword lying next to Jairus and threw it into infinity. And I don't need a sword, the Force will be my ally. The Jedi walked over to his apprentice and put his hand on his shoulder. Kanan looked proudly at the boy. The training is over. You have passed the test, Ezra Bridger. From now on, you are a Jedi Knight. As I was when I was alive. Good luck training the boy, don't be hard on him. I won't be, Ezra said in real life. Sensei. It was a few seconds later. I see you've built yourself a tent. Well, I can't sleep in the rain. Right, he. So, where do we start our Jedi training? Ezra smiled softly and ruffled the boy's hair. Patience, Padawan. Patience. Sentries are deployed, Grand Admiral. Also, 2 scouting parties have returned with good news. Large deposits of natural fuel have been found. In addition, the inhabitants of a neighboring settlement have been captured. The droid says that the language is similar to a very old one but modified. Apparently, the age of hyperspace travel also began on this planet, but it was so long ago that the technology was lost. Now there are no hyperdrives on the planet, not even flying machines. The people of this planet seem to have degenerated scientifically. Captain Enoch, give the order to begin development of the fuel vein. And arrange for our people to learn the language spoken here. And yes, have them manufacture and repair our weapons and equipment. Yes, sir. The captain saluted and left the temporary location of the command headquarters. Interesting, whispered Thrawn, grabbing his chin, and smiled. Interesting. Concentrate. Let go of all thoughts. Look for that feeling. The Force will open to you, but you have to open to it. It's hard. Naruto opened his eyes and exhaled. No one said it would be easy. Or are you just looking for easy ways? Naruto felt insulted. There are no easy paths to the title of Hokage. I see. Why do you want to become Hokage? Naruto was silent for a while to formulate an answer. The Hokage is the strongest ninja in the village. He is loved and respected by everyone. The Hokage protects everyone in the village. When I become Hokage, everyone will recognize me and stop ignoring me. Then you must become strong to be recognized. Yes, I train every day. And with you now, too. Well, let's continue. Naruto found it hard to concentrate. Thoughts kept popping into his head and interfering with his concentration. At one point, he heard a grunt and jumped up from his seat, taking cover behind his teacher's back. Sensei. Calm down, it can sense your fear. It's going to eat us. Ezra shook his head. Look, it won't hurt you if you're calm and peaceful. The master demonstrated the connection to Naruto's bear, and Uzumaki calmed down a bit as he saw the bear sit down and stop growling. Now you. Clear your mind, stop being afraid. Your fear is caused by the unknown. Now you know it won't hurt you, so there is nothing to fear. Naruto followed his mentor's example and stretched his arm forward, concentrating on sensation. On communicating with the beast. I'm not afraid of him, but he's afraid of something. Naruto squeezed his eyes tighter, immersing himself in the power. No, he's afraid of someone. Me. No. Not me. The thing inside me. Ah. He was prevented from speaking by large red eyes in the darkness with vertical pupils. Naruto fell to the ground, breathing heavily. The bear fled with a howl, into the forest. Naruto, are you all right? Ezra rubbed his shoulders. I'm fine. Uzumaki grabbed his head with his hand. He felt so much fear, anger, hatred and rage. At an animal. No, at someone or something inside me. I see, then we'll call it a day. It's getting dark, be careful. Naruto stood up, shook himself and bowed. See you tomorrow, sensei. Ezra saluted him and headed towards the fire. A bear peeked through the bushes. How afraid you were of it, Bridger tossed his friend a couple of fried fish. The bear began to eat, and the Jedi meditated to find the answer in the Force. Episode 3. Ezra Bridger experiences intense anxiety while training a young boy. His abilities grow too fast and Ezra can't keep up with him. At the same time, the danger of Naruto being seduced by the dark side also grows. His master sees great fear in him, but Uzumaki is in no hurry to reveal the reason. Meanwhile, Thrawn's army is establishing its own order, enslaving the inhabitants of the regions near its outpost. 2 years have passed since Naruto and Ezra met. Although Naruto used to wear the jester's mask, he no longer wears it. Naruto was still the same cheerful boy, but he was no longer a clown. In class, he started answering the blackboard and Iruka's questions much more frequently. Uzumaki also made progress in his understanding of power. However, he was still unable to befriend the beast. A red-haired lump stood in his way a lot. But his connection to the Force had multiplied. Naruto sat down on the riverbank, took off his clothes to his waist and meditated. Somewhere in the forest, a bear was running around trying to catch a pesky hare. Ezra was pecking at something nearby. By the way, he no longer lived in a cabin, but in a small but cozy hut made of solid wood. He had built it himself, and not without Naruto's help. It was his way of combining training with useful work. At first Naruto could only move small bars in space, but eventually he could lift bars 2 meters high, albeit with great difficulty. Naruto's meditations were difficult. The concentration seemed unimaginable for a noisy child. As time went on, everything became easier, except them. But Naruto struggled to meditate through the effort. "Find. Who's here?" he answered the strange voice. "Open it." Naruto began to look around. This had happened to him before, he remembered. "Go to the call. Sensei," he shouted in his direction. "Yes." A few seconds later, the master was at his side. "Something is calling me. Just like when we first met. The Force must have something to show you. Show me the way. I don't know what it is." Naruto nodded. In 2 years, he had come to trust this alien as if he were family. His teacher told him the story of the accident. He told him of the existence of a galaxy far, far away from where he was from. For Naruto, it was the most incredible experience of his life. He thought he was special, because no one on this planet knew of the existence of distant worlds except him. Nor did anyone else know about the Force. Your connection to the Force is growing rapidly, Naruto. Isn't it? But I'm not even close to you, Master. As they made their way through the forest, they came to a huge rock. It was as if a huge stone wall was rising in front of them. Greater efficiency and maximum efficiency are different things, Naruto. Someday you will surpass me. I think we've arrived. Can you feel anything? We need to get closer, closer to the rock. They've moved. I hear a lot of voices in my head. Are they calling me? Inside. This place seems to be an ancient Jedi temple. Touch the rock with your hand and use the Force. Naruto followed the master's instructions. To open it, you need a master and a student. Ezra, the temple says we must open it together. Okay. Take a step back and concentrate on opening it. Resorting to force, Ezra and Naruto opened the passageway. A portion of the door-shaped rock led inward and rose up, revealing the entrance to the two. Wow. Be careful. Why? The boy asked as they entered. Ah. Calm down, they're just skeletons. Just skeletons. The blonde was surprised, looking away from several robed skeletons sitting on his lap. They're dead people. Look, Naruto. The Force has brought you here, which means you're ready for the test. What kind of test? Ezra rubbed the bridge of his nose, remembering his first trip to the temple. Of course analogies came to his mind. The same thing had happened to him. The test to earn the right to be a Jedi. Am I not already a Jedi? Not yet. I didn't know if there was a temple here, but at one point I had to test him to see if he was ready for the burden and responsibility. Naruto thought for a moment and nodded. I see. So, do we have to go ahead? No, you will go alone. I'll stay here with them. Hehe, I trust you with my life, Naruto. Don't let me down. Huh? Are you serious? Yes, go. And remember, don't be afraid of anything. Don't give in to the dark side, stay calm. The Force is with you. Naruto nodded and entered another passageway. The door began to descend. What am I supposed to do? Do you need to find something? Ezra crouched down so they could hear him. Naruto did the same, as the door was descending rapidly. Look for everything, and at the same time, nothing. The door closed. So Kanan said. He added in a whisper to the emptiness. Naruto walked for what seemed like more than an hour down the narrow corridor. And when the exit appeared, he finally sighed. What the hell is this? The boy was indignant as he saw 3 new entrances in front of him. Well, if you think about it logically. Whatever was at the 2 ends will be in the middle one. Well, I don't take the easy way out. He walked down the central hallway for what seemed to him to be about the same amount of time. Along the way he heard voices. The fear of getting lost on the dark side can. Don't touch it. I won't kill him. He can't be left alive. Come to the dark side, boy. The dark side has clouded our minds. I am a Jedi, as was my father. From now on, your name is Darth Vader. Your master cannot save you. Father, help me. Naruto walked along thinking, this is a nightmare. Who are all these people? Until he came to a cliff. But what? Hey, what are you standing there for, Naruto? Ezra appeared behind him and patted him on the shoulder. Sensei. You. Who would leave you alone? Come on, jump. Saying that, he jumped himself. Sensei. I'm coming. Naruto followed his master and jumped down. The more the boy fell, the colder he felt. When the company. He didn't have time to finish, the water prevented him. Hardly, but he managed to swim to shore. Why is the water so heavy? It takes a long time. The professor appeared. Go on. Wait. Naruto ran down another hallway. Wait. When Uzumaki reached the exit, he saw Ezra's corpse with kunai and shuriken sticking out of it. What the? The blonde was startled and took a step back. It's that boy. The villagers appeared around the master's body. Don't play with him. He's dangerous. Stay away from that boy. A demon. A clown. A buffoon. A loser. A loser. Enough of this. Tears began to flow from the guy's eyes, but he tried to pull himself together. Shut up. Master, get up. Get out, demon. Get out of here. We won't be friends with you. Don't talk to my son. Run, Naruto. From behind him appeared the face of a fox with a vicious grin. Run and call for help. Naruto turned around with difficulty and fell to the ground, unable to move. No. He closed his eyes tightly. None of this is true. It's all a lie. Come on, you know I'm real. The demon smiled. You're nothing but an illusion, Kyuubi. You're in a cage. In me. And my master is alive. And I'm not afraid. Not of you, not of myself. Then you will die, boy. Naruto calmed down and stood up. The fox would eat Uzumaki if it wasn't an illusion, just like Naruto said. The fox disappeared. Naruto exhaled and collapsed again, but already in relief. Settling down on the floor in the shape of a star, he closed his eyes. The place changed to a small stone room with columns. You have overcome your fear, Padawan. A voice came from an unmistakable place. A voice came from an unmistakable place. Are you ready to continue? Who are you? Why do you sound like Shino? Naruto opened his eyes and stood up. It's not who I am that matters. What matters is who you are. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. And I want to become Hokage and Jedi. You must choose one or the other. Should a Jedi fight for power? AAA. No. Then you must choose whether you want to be a Jedi or the Hokage of your village. Naruto closed his eyes and began to think. Why did he choose to become Hokage? Why did he decide to become a Jedi? No, it won't work like that. It's time to grow up. The blonde thought. If I become Hokage, I'll be tied to Konoha and won't be able to protect others like a Jedi. Save everyone, or just Konoha. That's not right. A voice, sensing the boy's determination, spoke. Did you make the decision, apprentice? Yes, I am a Jedi. That's how I see myself in the future. Then go. Damn it. He's just a kid. Ezra had been sitting there for an hour, kicking himself for letting him go in there alone. You don't believe in him, do you? Master Yoda. He started looking around. You won't see me, Padawan. I'm far away. Far away from you. Master Yoda, I watched Kanan complete my training here on this planet. So now you are a master. A Jedi Knight now, huh? Yes, Master. I'm getting old, my life is coming to an end. So you won't be seeing me for a while. Ezra smiled, remembering the image of the wise Jedi. You should not worry about your apprentice. He is wise beyond his years. He is capable. Take care of him. Yes, Master. Class, another fork in the road. You must choose your path, Padawan. Naruto shrugged and chose the middle entrance again. He stepped out into a place that looked like an infinite space with billions of stars. And only below was the rock he was standing on. Why do you want to be a Jedi? Because I know how cruel the world can be. I've been beaten many times myself. Adults and children. And they kill someone. Ezra taught me how to defend myself. He made me stronger. That's why I want to protect those who can't protect themselves. If they don't love you so much, why don't you hate them? Why didn't you kill the ones who hurt you? Because that is not the way of the Jedi. Revenge will do me no good. I won't take revenge on anyone. Well, maybe you will become a Jedi, Padawan. A kyber crystal appeared above Naruto and slowly descended into his hands. Now go, your master is worried about you. The temple door closed and Naruto exhaled. That was scary. The boy smiled. But you made it. Did you find what you were looking for? Yes, I think I did. He showed me the crystal. Is this what I was supposed to find? Yes. It's very valuable, so keep it safe. I will. Master. Naruto hid it in his bag. He did. I should have said this before. He hesitated. I have a terrible demon living inside me that attacked the village the day I was born. That's why I can't connect with the animals. They are afraid of this demon. It's good that you told me. I've been worried sick. You won't hate me. Naruto looked at Ezra hopefully. Why did you attack the village? It wasn't your fault. He was not allowed to finish. Naruto rushed at him and hugged him. Master, I love you, said the boy in tears. Well, we have to go. It's late at night. What are you doing? Kanan has been coming around a lot in the evenings. Sorting out the swords I got at the temple. The dead don't need them. Ezra sat by the fire, picking up one of the swords. For the boy. He sat down beside him. I've given up the sword, but I have to teach the boy. He'll need it. He's growing up fast. Faster than you. That's right. If you say so, you're right. You said I was moving at a breakneck pace. Those were turbulent times back then. I had to learn at a breakneck pace. Oh, by the way. What? Ezra put away his sword. Hera and I have a son. Kanan smiled enigmatically and disappeared into the Force. Episode 4. A new day had arrived. Naruto had stayed home all day yesterday. It was a day off, there was no need to go to the academy. His mentor was understanding and let the boy recover from the stress he had experienced at the temple. For the past 2 years he had experienced a lot of stress. He often had nightmares related to the Nine Tails. On a couple of occasions, he had entered his subconscious, where he had encountered him. The third Hokage gave in to Uzumaki's pressure and told him the secret of the Kyuubi within him. Almost every new day began with the academy and ended with Jedi training. Naruto was used to it by now. And the interesting thing was that he didn't consider it a chore. A new day brought him new skills and new knowledge. As well as the socialization and attention a child needs. Hey, Uzumaki. I'm talking to you. Naruto was walking alongside Kiba and Shikamaru from the cafeteria when a senior bully and his fellow 6th graders came out to meet him. Immersed in his thoughts, Naruto didn't notice when they approached him. What do you want from Naruto, fatty? Kiba interjected. The bully took offense at the insult. Yes, he was fat, but no one dared to even hint at it. After all, he was from the respected Uchiha clan. Shut up, puppy. Know your place in the food chain. Deciding to limit his words, he turned back to Naruto. Kiba swallowed another insult and cackled. My little brother, whom I love dearly, says you beat him up on Friday. Would you care to explain? Standing next to his brother, the beaten boy from Friday smirked, anticipating further developments. But Naruto was cold and sober. Looking at the one he had, Beaten up, Naruto decided to clarify the situation. Your brother was flirting with a shy girl from my parallel. She's from your clan. I reprimanded him and he came at me with his fists. I slapped him on the arm and he ran away. The bully looked at his brother and looked back at the blonde. Whatever it is, you'll have to answer for what you did. A smirk appeared on the chubby boy's face. Today after school. At the school's abandoned shooting range. If you don't show up, there will be trouble. If you complain to your elders, there will be trouble. My father's a cop, so keep an eye on me, you brats. The Uchiha took one last look at them and left with his cheering squad. Are you coming? Shikamaru asked. My father is the head of the clan. If we tell, they won't hurt us. Yes, my mother is also the head. If they try anything, she'll break every Uchiha's neck. No, I'll go. I have to teach them a lesson. Naruto shook his head with a tired expression. Surely there are at least 6 of them, and they're older than you. Nara objected. Naruto staggered into the classroom and said mysteriously. The Force is on my side. The Force? Kiba interjected, following him with Shikamaru behind him. Never mind. Uzumaki smiled. I'm not forcing you to come, but you can watch. It's so hard. In any case, call me right away. I'll get you out of here. Kiba added. I'm fast. Naruto laughed amicably at his comrade's brave statement. Lately, he had silently endured the rude attitude towards his person. Well. 5 classes passed unnoticed. The sun had only recently risen from its zenith. The old training ground was a good distance from the academy. Before the Third Hokage's military reforms, it was where students practiced elementary techniques. It was close to the forest and had an adjacent river. It has been abandoned for a couple of decades. Did you bring your friends to watch you get beaten up? Or do you hope they can save you? Naruto looked behind his back and nodded to his friends. In addition to Shikamaru and Kiba, they were joined by Choji, Ino and Shino. Somewhere nearby lurked 3 more people who had clearly arrived not by invitation. I can take care of you and your gang by myself. Apologize and leave before it's too late. With all his appearance, Naruto showed his readiness for battle. The Padawan's tousled wheat hair and braid fluttered in the wind. There was no emotion in his blue eyes. His choice of clothing had not changed. A black t-shirt with a red spiral around the stomach. A light orange windbreaker, boldly unbuttoned, with black stripes along the arms. Black pants with orange stripes along the legs. Black shinobi sandals. Bandages on the right leg with a knife sheath. You've got a lot of nerve, brat. His opponent was burly, 2 heads taller than him, with coarse facial features. Contrary to the general perception that the boys of the Uchiha clan were handsome, many of them were ordinary-looking men. This Uchiha was one of those ordinary guys. Before we start, tell me your name. Naruto's friends stepped aside to watch. At Uzumaki's own request, they were not to interfere. Denki Uchiha. Remember that well, Uzumaki. 6 of his sycophants stood beside the Uchiha, including his younger brother, who was a year older than the blonde. Naruto took a deep breath and concentrated. Since it wasn't working to convince them with words, he would have to do it by force. A Jedi protects the world from the likes of Denki, among others, so it's his duty to defeat this evil. He's not going to kill them, but he's going to teach them a lesson. God, what is he thinking? Ino covered her mouth with her hands. Everything's under control for now, so it's too soon to worry. Choji crunched his potatoes. Right, Shikamaru. Naruto said to trust him. He'll be fine. Nara replied. I don't like this idea. Shino spoke, worried about his friend. I'll get my own microphones if something goes wrong. Ino shuddered. Let's do it without the bugs. It seemed to Denki that the silence between them was going to last a long time, so he raised his fist and ran towards the blonde with a shout. The others went after him. First punch, miss. One leg, miss. The fist of one of the suckers, intercepted, and Uzumaki threw it over his shoulder. 2 lunges were blocked by Naruto's 2 hands. Strike after strike was intercepted or missed its target. The 2 sixes were already down. Denki was beginning to lose his nerve. Naruto, come on, take them down. Ino shouted with joy. Easy to say. Shikamaru read Naruto's mind. Naruto is fighting high school students who outnumber him. Naruto is strong, but even for him, it's too much. I've had enough. Now I'm going to punish him for such blatant insolence. He began to fold the seals. Everyone knew this was going to get ugly. Naruto, get out of there. Kiba shouted. Hey, Denki, there are guys in there. I don't give a damn about them. Fire element, fireball. Meanwhile, the one sitting on the tree branch decided to show himself. This idiot is going to kill him. The technique came out of the Uchiha's mouth and flew towards Naruto. Uzumaki concentrated on the force and stretched his arm forward. Screams erupted around him, someone was running towards him. Six was trying to push Denki away to stop the technique. But Naruto wasn't paying attention to any of that. It was just him and the force. What the? Sasuke, who had rushed to the blonde's aid, froze in place, stunned. The fire seemed to be dodging Naruto and the hooligans lying around him. The jet of fire stopped and Naruto exhaled, lowering his arm. Who the hell are you? Drawing back, Denki asked in a frightened voice. I'm a Jedi. That tells you nothing, of course, but know this. That I won't allow you to harm others. To intimidate him, Naruto squeezed his throat tightly. Do you understand? The fat man began to nod with all his might. For a moment, the blonde's eyes turned red. The pupil stretched. But, Naruto remembered his training and was able to suppress his anger and let the Uchiha go. Take your companions and get out of here. Unless you want to learn the full power of my technique. Naruto turned and walked towards his friends and Sasuke. I didn't expect you to rush to my aid. Thank you. Yes. Finding no more words, he and the others stared at the departing Uzumaki. What was that? Ino said aloud everyone's thoughts. The teacher was finishing up with something when Naruto came out of the forest. Oh, Naruto. You're just in time. Ezra came out to meet him with a box. Did you bring it? Yes, Naruto walked over and took a crystal out of his bag. Will there be exercise today? I need to build up my stamina. No, today and the following days you will assemble your lightsaber. At the blank stare of his apprentice, Ezra pulled out the unassembled saber and ignited it. A blue blade emerged from the small wand. A lightsaber is the weapon of a Jedi. Bridger approached a tree about a foot in diameter and effortlessly cut it open. The trunk was slightly scorched, but the fire was quickly extinguished. Wow. Is that your sword? No. I took this sword from the temple to teach you how to use it. I gave up my sword to be stronger without it. But it will come in handy. And if you don't like it, you can always give it up like I did. You'll never know until you try it, will you? I think I could use it. Well, let's put it together. Ezra opened a box containing pieces of various swords in an orderly fashion. Let's start by telling you what each piece is for. A week later. Ezra. The boy watched with glee as the green energy of the Kyber crystal flowed from the hilt. Ezra, I finally did it. Congratulations. The teacher reached over and tousled the boy's hair. What have you decided? I'll hide it until the academy is over. I've already attracted a lot of attention. I don't need a lot of questions about the sword. At least not now. I see. Have you found a place yet? Yes. Shall I leave it with you? Naruto handed the sword to his mentor. It's more convenient. Then I don't have to take it with me to practice. A wise decision. The Jedi nodded. How about the first training session? Agreed. Did you get the information you needed? Thrawn's spacious office was filled with the Admiral's entire command staff. Yes, Grand Admiral. It was learned that some inhabitants of the planet are capable of creating natural elements from the energy called chakra. As the prisoner explained, there are 5 settlements in the world where these people live. They are called ninja or shinobi. I would not underestimate them. According to a report from one of the intelligence teams, they can release fire and water from their mouths on a large scale. And from the prisoner's account, it is clear that this is far from the limit of their chakra capabilities. So I guess we should lay low so as not to attract the attention of the local rulers. Increase training in all areas. Yes, sir. The lieutenant gave the military salute and left the office. Captain Enoch, what is the current status of the repair plant project? Sir, metal mining and processing is in full swing. The cladding of the plant shell has already begun. We estimate that the plant will be operational in 2 years. Good. I hope you all remember our main objective. We need maximum productivity from each of you. He paused. For the Empire, gentlemen. To the Empire. He answered himself. Episode 5. Stupidity is not even a cure for death. The Genin exam. For young ninja, it is very important. It is the first turning point in their lives. Genin is not just a rank, it's an opportunity. For some, it is a chance to leave the village. For others, it is an opportunity to become independent from their parents. A Genin receives a salary of 15% of what he earns for completing missions. Of course, it's nothing like the 40% that a Genin mentor earns, but it's money. And sometimes it's a lot of money. The 15% goes into the village treasury. The minimum cost of the lowest ranked mission is 100,000 ryo. That's the percentage. For comparison, the cost of a loaf of bread, 100 ryo, Naruto's favorite ramen, 500 ryo, a kilo of pork, 1,000 ryo, a complete set of clothes, socks, underwear, shoes, shirt, outerwear, hat can cost from 15,000 ryo. The average cost of renting a house, 90,000 ryo per month, buying a house in the center, from 1,500,000 ryo, one room. For Naruto, this day is also important. He will finally be able to reach his full potential in missions outside the village. He will be able to earn more money and move out of his ramshackle house into a more comfortable one. He will be able to learn new techniques from his Jonin mentor and become stronger. Naruto decided to spend the time before the announcement of the results meditating. His friends reacted strangely to this. They knew that Naruto trained every day, but to suddenly start meditating seemed incomprehensible to the others. Only Uzumaki knew why he was meditating at that moment. It was actually quite simple. When a power gave Naruto clues, he would begin to concentrate on it and meditate to learn more. Today Naruto had a premonition that something unpleasant and good would happen during the day. He had a strange dream at night where he saw 100 of his own spears surrounding a man. He saw the third Hokage. Kyuubi. But he still did not understand anything. He had to interrupt his meditation when the results began to be announced. He passed. As did everyone in his class. Which wasn't surprising, since Class A was the most elite of the class. It was full of children of clan chiefs and promising non-clan children. Baruka told the students to come tomorrow for team assignment and sent them home. But, as they were leaving, Mizuki, one of the teachers, caught up with Naruto and took him aside, to talk. Naruto-kun, you have performed well, congratulations. The committee has decided to nominate you and some other students in your class for a test to determine whether or not you get the rank of Chunin. Mizuki had no idea that Naruto was 100 times smarter than she thought. He wouldn't believe such nonsense. But she needed to know what was going on. So she'll play along. Really? The blonde was surprised. Am I that great? Naruto could lie many times better than that dilettante Mizuki. So it was only logical that he believed in the sincerity of Naruto's words. Yes, Naruto. You're really cool. So, are you up for the challenge? Yes. What should I do? Then listen and memorize the task. I'll say it once. It was getting late. Naruto was packing. He had just come from training and had brought his lightsaber with him. If anything went wrong, it would come in handy. And if something went wrong, Naruto was 100% sure. He had to steal the scroll with all the Hokage's techniques from his residence. Naruto already had a plan prepared. All that was left was to put it into action. Since there was a slim chance that the super-secret Chunin exam was not a hoax, Naruto decided to take it seriously, so as not to dishonor his honor. And if it was a trick for Mizuki to get the scroll, then Naruto would cite that he really thought it was a test, since they had been taught since they were little to trust their teachers. Well, time to go. Hokage's residence. It's 2200. Hey, what are you doing here so late? Asked one of the two guards in the Hokage's office, wearing a porcelain mask. You're sleeping. Naruto slipped 2 fingers, just as Ezra had taught him. The Jedi hypnosis worked and the guards fell to the ground with a clatter. The Hokage heard this and signaled wait for your order to his subordinates hiding in the study. He himself decided to open the door and observe. And in fact he had already detected Naruto's chakra and decided to see what he would do next. When the old man opened the door and was surprised to see such a picture, Naruto had already grabbed the scroll through the open window. He transformed himself into a fly to go unnoticed. He jumped out of the window like a man. But not as himself, but as the third, thinking his chakra was undetectable. "What are your instructions, Hokage-sama?" asked Itachi Uchiha, one of the third's guards. "Keep an eye on Naruto and intervene if he is about to leave the village or pass the scroll to a third." Check. The four masked ninja disappeared from the office. The Hokage pulled out his magic orb to keep an eye on Naruto. And yes, he woke those two up and scolded them for losing to a child. On the outskirts of the village, at the edge of the forest, Naruto dispelled the henge, and it seemed odd to observers that Naruto wore a headband. If he was a traitor, he had no reason to wear it. Itachi made the decision to observe until the end. Until it was clear whether he was a traitor or not. Let's see. And then the part of Naruto responsible for benefiting from his actions awoke. I see. Let's start training. Mizuki had to arrive in at least an hour, so he could devote himself to practicing. Of course, it seemed like a very strange decision for Itachi and the Hokage. Either he's an idiot or he's not a traitor. As the waiting time was coming to an end, Naruto was able to create 3 clones. He even jumped for joy. But when he felt the familiar chakra approaching, he dispelled the technique. "I see you did well, Naruto," smiled the master. "So I passed the Chunin exam." The situation became clear to the observers. Itachi gave the order to prepare for capture. "Yes, you did well. Give me the scroll." As best he could, he played nice. "No, I'd rather give it to Old Man 3 and apologize for knocking out the guards," said the boy with a silly grin. "Naruto." Mizuki's eye began to twitch, and he repeated, "Give me the scroll. And you try to take it from me, you vile traitor." Suddenly, Naruto became serious. He put the scroll behind his back and folded the seal. Mizuki was surrounded by 100, if not more, clones of that guy. Each one unsheathed a lightsaber, and the edge of the forest lit up with a green glow. "This scroll will go back to where it was. You won't make it surrender." Ha 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 ha. The master laughed madly. "So, you've unmasked me. I didn't expect that from a demoness. I won't give up. Give me the scroll while it's still intact. I'm not afraid of your clones or your lights, Naruto. You underestimate my power." The blonde replied calmly. But before he could test his sword on the traitor, Itachi and his squad had Mizuki in their clutches and tied him up. Naruto dispelled the clones and handed the scroll to Itachi. "Good job, Naruto-kun. But don't do it again. Come on, we have to report to the Hokage," Itachi said and headed with him to the village ruler's office. In just a minute, Naruto threw up for not covering his body with chakra in time. "Well, they're all here now, so we can talk about something else. Leave Naruto and me alone." The shinobi bowed and left the office. "Can I see him?" "Careful, it's not a torch." Naruto smiled at the old man and handed him the sword. The button activates the sword. The third Hokage admired the sword like a child, as if it were a toy. "Take it." The Hokage handed it back to him and smiled kindly. "How is your master? How did you hear from him, old man?" Naruto was not the least bit surprised. "My men watch over you every day to make sure our enemies don't rob you. Remember that the fox is inside you. But from today on, no one will be watching you anymore." "I see. So you know everything. And about the Jedi temple?" "Yes. My men couldn't open it, but they didn't break down the door. I was surprised to learn that your mentor came from another galaxy. And the fact that you have a connection to the Force shocked me. The first Hokage was like you, but neither he nor anyone else knew what his name was. That's why you decided not to go for the title of Hokage, right? The Force showed me a different path, old man. I do not renounce the profession of shinobi, but I no longer follow the path of the ninja, Databeo." "Good. Actually, I wanted to tell you something about yourself. Since you have graduated from the academy and are of age, it is time to pass on your parents' inheritance to you. The Hokage told Naruto who was his father and who was his mother. He handed him the keys to his house and a scroll with a couple of techniques. Naruto couldn't sleep half the night, he cried. So many years in the dark. But now he knew who he was. Padawan, son of the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, descendant of the great Uzumaki clan and the chosen one. The one who will save the world from the great threat in the future. Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. As Iruka announced the next teams, the children whispered. They were jealous that Sakura had made it to the best team. Naruto had proven over the years that he was not a clown or a weakling, but equal or superior to the academy's top student, Sasuke Uchiha. No, Sakura was not a weak girl. She trained hard and was the third best student in her class. But, in the context of those two, she looked like a first grader next to the genin. Just like the rest of them. Wait for your mentors. Good luck with this new chapter of your lives, guys. Iruka left the office. Gradually, the genin mentors withdrew their teams. Only the members of the 7th team remained in the room. It's taking too long. An hour had passed and Sakura was starting to get nervous. Naruto, why are you meditating? I'm channeling chakra through the channels to increase them. Naruto decided to rest, so he interrupted his meditation. What is that hanging from your belt, a torch? Haruno asked, bored to death. Naruto pulled his sword from his belt and activated it. It glowed, of course, but he was not to touch it unless he wanted to lose a limb. He swung it in the air and handed it to Sakura. Try it. Wow, it's light. Sakura repeated the guy's movements and returned the sword to its owner. Do you want to hold it? Naruto handed the sword to the Uchiha at her mute question. So you took Mizuki by surprise with that? Sasuke clarified, and anticipating the Uzumaki's question, he answered. Itachi told me. I see. No, I used a technique. Itachi didn't tell you. No. Sasuke returned the sword to Uzumaki. That's good. It'll be a surprise. What happened to Mizuki? Don't you know? Naruto wondered. The whole academy knows that Naruto caught a spy, and you didn't know. Sasuke raised an eyebrow in surprise. Wow. Mizuki is a spy. I'm surprised. I was surprised too. Kakashi Hatake appeared in the doorway. Good job, Naruto. You take too long, Kakashi-san. Sighed the blonde. So you know me. The old man told me yesterday who I would be on the team with. So you knew beforehand. Sakura's eyes went into orbit. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Let's go to the 7th range. We'll talk more there. It didn't take long to get to the training ground. It was relatively close to the academy. I've been thinking about what to do on the first day, so I decided to have a training session. The purpose of the training is to test your cohesion. You must work as a team. I will be your opponent. Your job is to take these 2 bells from me. If you catch one of them, I will give you a prize. If you take neither, the worst one gets the prize. Kakashi set the alarm clock. You have until lunchtime. Let's get started. The trio immediately disappeared from the clearing and stalked into the forest. Who has a plan? Naruto began immediately. All 3 said, me. Then let's talk and choose the best one. Negotiations began, which did not last long. Naruto's plan was the chosen one, adjusted by Sakura and Sasuke. Kakashi stood in the center of the clearing and quietly read a novel by a famous author. The children had the advantage that the Jonin underestimated them. The trio stood in front of him and prepared to attack. The Jonin didn't even look in their direction. You should punch him in the stomach. I will restrain him with my technique. Wouldn't it be better to grab the bell? No, Sasuke. If we show our skills, it will lead to higher ranking missions. Understood. Sakura concentrated chakra in her fist and lunged at her sensei. Kakashi tried to dodge, but something prevented him. His body stiffened as if he was poisoned. The blow hit him right in the liver. If he hadn't used body swapping, it would have hurt. If you use body swap, we'll rotate and go on the defensive. Sasuke will attack next. Not bad, guys. His techniques are strong for a genin. Good control, Sakura. Hatake closed the book and put it away in his bag. Sasuke, let's go. Naruto shouted and the Uchiha doubled the 6 seals for the fire elemental technique. I hit it. The fireball hit its target. A shadow clone. Naruto opened his mouth and immediately received a punch in the face. Looks like you're the most dangerous one here, Naruto. But, what was Hitaki's surprise when Naruto disappeared in a cloud of smoke? And in the next instant, he froze. He's going to make me the main target. So, Sakura, you must prescribe a powerful punch to his abs, got it? Yep. Sasuke, put a Genjutsu Sharingan on him. What if it doesn't work? You'll use the lightning element technique, like you did in sparring. The main thing is to get there before he uses a substitute. Let him know we're not weak. Hitaki was punched hard in the abs, and had it not been for Naruto holding him down with his strength, he would have gone flying a good dozen meters. Before he could recover, he was struck by lightning. The Genjutsu didn't take him, but why not? Thought the Uchiha. Kakashi-sensei, you've lost. Naruto announced with a bell in his hands. When did you make it? Hitaki asked quickly recovering. At that time, I'll draw the bell like this blade now. I see. An amazing technique. Well, promises must be kept. You're doing very well. Maybe you should go to the hospital. Sakura looked at the bruised sensei. No, I'll recover quickly. You're not strong enough to admit me to the hospital yet. She said slowly. But I have to go home. So wait for me at 4 o'clock in the morning at the Ichiraku Ramen. I'll buy you a drink there and then we'll go straight to the first mission. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. The boys waved and went home. Hitaki went to see the Hokage to inform him about the boys' abilities. And to give his evaluation. Let's get to know each other, suggested the teacher while the food was being prepared for them. I am Kakashi Hitaki, 27 years old. I have a dream, but it's very personal. I have many hobbies. Reading, exercising are the main ones. I like a lot of things, but I also don't like a lot of things. Now it's you. Naruto Uzumaki, I'm 12 years old. I dream of traveling to other planets and seeing as many different creatures as possible. My hobbies are exercising and gardening. I love learning new things. I hate waiting 5 minutes for noodles to boil and when the strong hurt the weak. Sakura Haruno, 13 years old, dreaming of surpassing Tsunade Senju in medicine and winning a man's heart. She glanced furtively at Sasuke. I take medical courses and train my taijutsu. There are very few things I hate or dislike, but one of them is my own weakness. Otherwise, I try to be optimistic. Sasuke Uchiha, I'm 12 years old. One day, I will surpass my brother and father. I will be the future leader of the Uchiha clan. I like training with Naruto and growing tomatoes. He has a whole garden full of tomatoes. Naruto interrupted him with his laughter. Yeah, shut up, cactus. Now, there are some things I really don't like, but that's personal, I'll keep it to myself. Other than that, I'm more of a realist and take things for granted. I see, you guys are interesting. I like you better and better. I think we'll work well together. He smiled with one eye before the food was placed on the table. Enjoy your meal. A chorus of cheers erupted from the quartet. It was the only time the boys could see Kakashi without his mask, but ironically, no one looked in his direction. Thus began a new chapter in the lives of these 3 boys. Episode 6. That Kakashi is a monster. He doesn't feel any pity for us. Not even Sakura. And she's a girl. Ezra playfully dodged the student's lazy attacks. Do you want to rest? Naruto lunged at him to deliver a sword strike from below, but for some reason he ran past him and crashed into a tree. Poor head. What's wrong with you? The teacher helped me up. I felt something. A call. Again. The temple is calling me. Ezra extinguished his sword and threw it under the porch. Then let's go. To the temple. Let's go. Master and pupil resorted to force. But, a new door opened. On the ground. New problem, new entrance. Explained the mentor to the blonde's mute question. Concentrate on the temple. Let the force guide you. I'll stay here. Naruto walked alone, guided by the force. For about 10 minutes he wandered through the labyrinth until he came to a place that looked like a shrine. On a lectern was a dusty cube with beautiful drawings on it. Take it. Open it. Use the power. Well, let's give it a try. Naruto used the power and concentrated on opening this cube. The 8 pyramids at the corners of the cube moved and flew away from him. The cube began to glow. The dust crumbled and Naruto saw the Jedi holocron. He did not yet know him. Speak your name, young Jedi. A mysterious voice said someone or something from the cube. I am Naruto Uzumaki, and who are you? I am the one who will give you the knowledge of all the Jedi of all eras. Take me with you, Naruto. Saying this, the holocron shut down and the pyramids returned to the cube, but did not return to their original position. Well, the master asked as he noticed Naruto leaving the temple. The temple closed and Naruto looked over, anticipating his return. Here, I found this. He said it would give the knowledge of the Jedi of all eras. Ezra became serious. Naruto. This is the holocron of the Jedi, and it must not fall into the hands of anyone. The knowledge of all Jedi is a tremendous power. If any Jedi or other Force user opens it, the world could be in danger. And don't use it too often or you will be in danger. The dark side will tempt you, but you must control your desires so you don't go over to their side. Take care of it like the apple of your eye. Naruto was beginning to regret taking it from the temple. I understand, sensei. But why did the Force lead me to him? I don't know, but I think it was to make you stronger with his help. Come on, let's go. You have a mission tomorrow, right? Yeah, I forgot about it with all the training I've been doing. Team 7 entered the mission room. To their surprise, the Hokage was sitting there, even though he had never been there before. Oh, Team 7. Here is and greeted. Well, let's see what you guys have in store for today. If it's another D-rank nonsense, I'll strangle myself. Uzumaki whispered to his friends. Strangle me too. Even Sakura was getting tired of these tasks. She had grown stronger and wanted to experience real combat. And her parents had stopped giving her money. And a genin's income wasn't exactly plentiful. Haruno dreamed of moving out of his parents' house, but at this rate, it wouldn't happen soon. The day before yesterday she had received 25,000 ryo for catching the daimyo's wife's cat. And for the cheapest C-rank mission, 15,000 ryo could be earned. Ah, dreams. I'm sorry, guys. You're at a standstill because of me. It's because of your father, Sasuke. Kakashi whispered, encouraging his student. It's not your fault. Even Sakura's father agrees to send her on the S-rank mission. Okay, Team 7, your mission will be to weed Mr. Tatsukumi's orchard. No. Naruto knelt down and raised his hands. Hokage-sama. Kakashi looked around, hoping that no one had noticed this circus. Kakashi looked around, hoping no one had noticed this circus. Kakashi, I would love to, but Fugaku is going to blow my head off. If you don't give us a mission, we'll go on strike and won't do D-rank missions. Junior Uchiha issued an ultimatum. Hokage-sama, I think they're ready for a more difficult mission. Itachi interrupted the brief silence by appearing next to Hiruzen. Then I'll leave Fugaku to you. Take care of him yourself. Sarutobi coughed. Understood. And he disappeared, smiling under his mask. Okay, Team 7, I'm giving you a mission, rank C. You will guard the bridge builder. Details are on the scroll. Be at the main gate in 20 minutes. He will call you. Yes. The 4 cheered. Even Kakashi exhaled. Are these my guards? Are you sure you're ninjas? Especially you, the little one with the ponytail. Yeah, first impressions are a nightmare. An alcoholic with bad manners. Naruto ignored the old man and turned to Hitaki. Sensei, let's get him away quickly. Patience, Naruto. We'll go at his pace. Naruto froze as his companions walked past him, clapping him on the shoulder. No Jedi training had ever suggested such a thing to him. They had been walking along the road for 3 hours now in 30-degree heat, listening to the old man complain and inhaling his breath. Is this a joke? The blonde expressed his thought to his companions, pointing to a huge puddle in the middle of the road. There wasn't a cloud in the sky within miles of this puddle. The heat was over 30 degrees Celsius. Who was so clever as to set this trap? As the team approached the puddle, 2 shinobi with respirators, suddenly, jumped out of it. What the hell? But, Naruto wasn't in the mood. The shinobi hung in the air and started grabbing each other's throats. You've ruined everything, Naruto. Kakashi stretched in frustration, looking at the ninjas tied to the tree. I wanted to play dead. Yeah, you're a joker too, sensei. We actually have more important things to do than lament. I smiled in satisfaction. Well, let's start the interrogation. Agreed the Jonin. Let me do it. Naruto volunteered. I'll do it. Hitaki agreed and made way for the younger one. The blonde closed his eyes and extended a hand towards one of them. Tell me, who are you, who hired you and who is your target? I won't tell you anything, he wanted to continue as he felt pain. A terrible pain. I'll tell you everything. Stop it. Please. Stop it. Sakura covered her mouth with her hand. Kakashi and Sasuke opened their eyes in surprise. Tell me. Or I'll find out for myself. I'm Gozu. Maizu interrupted him, yelling at his brother to shut up, but Naruto squeezed his throat tightly. Go ahead and don't stop or he will die and you will follow. Naruto let go of Maizu's throat. He coughed but didn't dare interrupt his brother. Remind me again why I agreed to this adventure. Kakashi, along with his sons and an old man who turned out to be a nice guy who was down on his luck in life, stood in front of the swordsman of the mist, Zabuza Momochi. Hitaki Kakashi. You're a pretty famous guy. Do you know how much they pay for your head? I've crossed a lot of people's paths. He discreetly signaled the team to take the defense. I guess so. The fog descended over the clearing and visibility dropped to zero. Shall we play a game? Suggested Zabuza, standing in the center of the Narusaku-Sas triangle, putting his sword to Tezuna's throat. Let's play. Naruto replied in Kakashi's place, activating his sword. In one move, he melted Kubikiribocho into 2 pieces. Then he forcefully sent Zabuza into the nearest tree and dispelled the mist. What kind of demon is this? The demon wondered. He got to his feet with little difficulty. And immediately he was chained to the tree, unable to move his arms. Shit. He was immediately hit in the face by Sakura's punch, which would cause a large bruise. He managed to defend himself with chakra, thus reducing the damage. But before he could pull away, he felt the heat and saw a huge ball of flames in front of his face. Too bad he didn't have any techniques in his arsenal that he could use without seals. That very substitution suited him just fine. Not bad, guys. But, don't relax. In his confirmation of Sensei's words, a somewhat burned and bedraggled Zabuza emerged from the smoke with a stubby sword. You pissed me off, you brats. He wanted to continue, but 3 needles stabbed into his neck. Momochi slumped to the ground. Did he die? Sakura asked. I guess so. Sasuke nodded. A masked shinobi appeared next to the corpse and disappeared with a body glow technique. I don't think so. Kakashi stopped. We'll meet them again. Them. Tezuna interjected. The Anbu of Mist, who hunt renegades, seal the corpses in place. The mentor explained. A lifetime of learning. Naruto smiled. I guess we should get going, huh? Yeah. Let's go. Kakashi agreed. Naruto's power allowed him to do things that even fire and water-spitting shinobi would be horrified or amazed by. To ordinary people, it was magic in its purest form. The day had been a disaster since morning. Naruto fell asleep and was not woken up. Because of this, he witnessed 2 bullies playing with Tsunami, Tezuna's daughter, in front of the girl. Naruto woke up to their screams, but quite late. To say he was furious is putting it mildly. Naruto had never felt such rage. The irises of his eyes reddened and his pupils dilated. He felt cold, as if it were winter. Nothing made sense. Rage clouded his mind. It took over his body. He did not realize what he was doing. The bandits had seen him and had left the woman behind too, they thought, teach the boy a lesson. However, as soon as one of them decided to speak, they stopped breathing. Something was constricting their throats. So did the rest of their bodies. Bones began to crack, muscles to tear. Soul-wrenching screams could be heard everywhere, eyeballs were bursting. But, soon the screams died down and not a breath was heard. Of course, because of the bloody mess those guys had become, hardly anything could be heard. Inari, Tezuna's grandson, suffered a nervous breakdown at such a spectacle. He was screaming like crazy, with tears flowing down his throat. I wonder what would cause him mental trauma, playing with his mother or the brutal murder of the bastards. Maybe both incidents. Another scream from Inari, whom his mother was trying to calm down, brought Naruto out of unconsciousness, and he was able to suppress the negative feelings inside him. "Stay back!" Tsunami shrieked. "Get away, you monster!" This woman had recently been used by the two scum Naruto had killed. It would seem that she should be grateful. But, if it had been any other ordinary person in her place, the reaction was the same. The rage and anger that came from Naruto, she felt it all over. It was as if she was being killed. "I'm sorry." Naruto realized he had done something terrible. "I'm sorry." Any more and she would have thrown up. He decided to leave, leaving a couple of clones outside just in case. "What have I done?" The boy chided himself, moving towards the bridge. All the impression Inari and Tsunami had formed of him during the week would now be clearly shattered by today's spectacle. But that was not all. Arriving at the bridge, Naruto sees his friend fall into Sakura's arms. They are trapped in the ice mirrors. And Sasuke is dead. The cold. Very, very strong. Cold. Everyone on the bridge felt it. It was hard to breathe. It was hard to move. Poisonous orange chakra began to ooze from Naruto's body. Bubbling, it enveloped his body. In a split second, it traveled 20 meters. It shattered the mirror. It struck the mask of Sasuke's assassin. He flew out of his own trap about 10 meters. The mask cracked. "Anakin, don't give in to her." Naruto didn't understand where the voice was coming from. He didn't understand much himself. Almost nothing. The only thing he wanted was to kill that guy. "Obi-Wan, fight her, Naruto." Uzumaki roared and lunged at the newly recovered Haku. "Clear your mind," Kanon said. Naruto raised his fist to strike. His whole body trembled. "Let go of what you've already lost," were Yoda's words. Tears filled his eyes. But the fist hit its target. The mask shattered. "Let go of your fear. Fight, Naruto," Ezra said. Haku. The eyes returned to their former state. Blue in color. Round pupil. "I'm sorry, Naruto. Can you kill me? I failed. I failed my master." "What are you talking about? Fox's chakra has begun to fade. I'm not going to kill you." Haku felt that his master's life was in danger. "Thank you." With his last strength, he ran to the master and protected him from Hitaki's Chidori. The technique went through his heart and missed the master. "Thank you for everything." Ha ha ha. What a drama. A whole army of mercenaries led by Kat appeared on the bridge. "Finally, that puppy is dead. I guess there's no point in fighting anymore, huh, Kakashi?" "I guess so. Can you even walk?" "I don't think so. I'll take care of this myself. You two get some rest." Naruto appeared with a completely indifferent look on his face. "This is my training. I must learn to kill without emotion or feelings." "Good. I'll support you if you need me." The Jonin nodded. "Boy, avenge Haku for me. Revenge is not the way of the Jedi. I will kill them because they are a threat to the citizens of this country." He removed his sword from his belt. "They are an evil that I must destroy." "What do you mean?" Kakashi clarified, but there was no response. Wasting no time in clarification, Uzumaki took a few steps and stopped to create a dozen of his clones. The clones activated their swords and rushed towards the bandits. The carnage began. Naruto's cold stare. His determination. The sobriety of his thoughts. Nothing unnecessary. No feelings. No emotion. Only the will of the Force dictating to kill them. Sakura watched it all, cradling Sasuke against her. The Salt Prince had already dried. She watched and couldn't believe how easily Naruto ended these people's lives. If he were to confront them, he could hardly inflict even serious bodily harm on them. She wondered, if Sasuke had confronted them, would he have acted like Naruto? Haruno felt Sasuke move. He's alive. Alive. Sakura. At that moment, Naruto had finished mutilating what must have been the 300th mercenary by now. Only Kat was left. Hundreds of corpses lay around him, cut in two, stabbed through, with severed limbs, with deep mortal wounds, burned where they had been cut. You are a monster. Kneeling among the corpses, the businessman lost his head. If I am the monster, what are you? Naruto extinguished his sword and headed towards the others. But, halfway there, he fell down. I'm tired. Sasuke-kun is awake. Sakura's shout echoed across the bridge. That's good. Naruto smiled and drifted off to sleep. A single tear slipped down his right cheek. Why did he commit harakiri? Sasuke asked Hatake as they buried the coffins with the bodies of the two mercenaries. He didn't want to live without Haku. That was what he said. Kakashi was burying Kubikiribocho. Apparently Zabuza had restored the length of the sword by killing someone. This sword is known to feed on blood. Naruto, why don't you show up at Tazuna's? Deciding to change the subject to something more exciting, Sakura. Tsunami-san and I had a fight when you left without me. Sakura didn't see the dead bodies of those two. Kakashi and Sasuke had entered there 3 minutes before. And they saw Tsunami scrubbing the floors of blood, with two mutilated corpses lying in the center of the room. Kakashi thought quickly and sealed them in a scroll. He created a clone to help Tsunami and find out the details. He brought Naruto into the room himself. At the sight of him, Tsunami's face twisted and she perked up. She had been quiet all day. Inari, meanwhile, had locked herself in her room and wouldn't come out. Kakashi and Sasuke noticed immediately. Only Sakura and Tazuna remained in the dark. That's why she's been so strange these days. I think they should reconcile. Sakura, this is Naruto's business. Sasuke scolded her. He'll apologize if he wants to. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry, Naruto. Sakura nodded and continued planting flowers. Makoto-chan, I enjoy your company, but don't you have anything else to do? You come here every day and sit on this couch until late at night. Doesn't Fugaku care? Hiruzen paused in reading one of the thousands of papers on his desk. Why should he care? I am protected by the Hokage and my son. And I myself am not weak. What is going to happen to me? He set the book down on the couch. As long as Asuke doesn't show up, I'll keep coming here until he dies. And when I do, I'll rip Kakashi's head off for such a reckless decision. It was a collective decision. Sarutobi stopped. Kakashi sent 2 messages. The first was about the decision to continue the mission with a rank increase, and the second was about the successful completion of the mission, the elimination of one of the mist swordsmen and the cat businessman and his army. The children would also receive theirs, as would Sasuke. He crossed his arms over his chest. You, by the way, are also to blame, Hokage-sama. Who controls the customers like that? The village will pay compensation for this incident. The old man sighed wearily. Since Team 7 completed the mission, they will be paid the same as for an A-ranked mission. 1 million ryo for the whole team. 60% for the genin, 40% for the jonin. No amount of money is worth the life of a child. He shook his head at the woman. Hiruzen wanted to nod, but there was a knock at the door and he ushered the guests in. 4 people appeared in view of the old man and the woman. 3 children and a man in tattered and bloody clothes, with a couple of bruises. Naruto's clothes looked the worst, there was barely a clean stain. All covered in other people's blood. The best was Sakura's. Her clothes had some of her own blood on them and a little more of Sasuke's. The team hadn't counted on a long and dangerous mission and hadn't carried a spare kit. That would serve as a lesson to them from now on. Kakashi was ashamed of himself. And when he saw Makoto in the office, his heart sank in his heels. Sasuke. The woman jerked next to her son and pulled him into a hug. I'm sorry, I couldn't get the blood off. The Uchiha hugged her back. Makoto pulled away slightly. She kissed Sasuke on the forehead and looked at Naruto. Oh my god, Naruto, what happened to you? She covered her mouth in horror. A bit of carnage. The boy smiled guiltily, but it looked creepy. How calmly he said it. The woman shook her head and took a deep breath. If Kushina were here, you'd be in trouble. The Uchiha smiled sadly. There was an awkward silence, interrupted by Hiruzen congratulating Kakashi's squad on the success of the mission. The boys collected their paychecks. Makoto threatened Kakashi with a gruesome death and took Sasuke home. Naruto went to his parents' house, there he lived since the beginning of his ninja career. Sakura and Kakashi went to their homes. Naruto's house. Tell me, how can I deal with anger? Naruto opened the holocron to find the solution to his problem. He was silent for a while, but then the hologram of a man appeared and began to explain to him the theory of the Force, telling him what kind of training he should do to prevent his anger from clouding his mind. Naruto thanked the holocron and closed it. Later he decided to go to Ezra to tell him what had happened in Wave Country. Captain Enoch. Condition of the Chimera. Fit for further use. Repairs have begun. Excellent. You are free to go. You'll be back very soon. Episode 7. The challenge of life is to keep fear from turning to anger. It's raining. A light summer rain was falling over Konoha. The smell of coolness and dampness wafted up to Naruto's nose as he walked alone through the cobblestone streets of the village. He was protected from getting soaked by a transparent umbrella. At one point, Sasuke joined him. He was carrying a black umbrella. Then, Sakura walked towards them with a pink umbrella. They walked towards the training ground. Kakashi didn't mind. He said, a ninja shouldn't miss training in a thunderstorm or snowstorm. The empty streets echoed with laughter, indignant exclamations, comments and simply angry shouts, mostly from Sakura. It was the members of Team 7 heckling each other and chatting about everything. When did they become friends? When Sasuke lost to Naruto in shogi for the third time in a row and made it his goal to beat Naruto in the game. Or when he rushed to save him from a clanmate's fireball. And Sakura. When Naruto defended her from being attacked by the high school bullies. Or when Sasuke had asked her to join their joint training session with Naruto. All that had happened a long time ago and it didn't matter. What mattered was that they were now inseparable. It was no wonder they had been assigned to the same team. Hello, guys. Sensei greeted them. It had stopped raining and the sun was shining. I have a proposition for you. What is it? Naruto asked, putting the umbrella away in his scroll. His friends did the same. Would you like to participate in the Chunin rank examination? Jonin showed 3 forms. Of course we would, replied the 3 of them happily. Then fill out the forms and come to the academy with them tomorrow. He handed over the forms and bowed to Sasuke. Don't tell your parents. Otherwise, they'll find you a new teacher. Done, sensei. The Uchiha nodded and put the form in his bag. Okay, before we begin our 3-hour training session, I have a few questions for Naruto. Naruto sighed. He had been delaying this conversation as long as he could. But, it was time to tell his friends and sensei his story. It all started the day some huge space whales took an equally huge spaceship to the moon. Naruto's story lasted about 2 hours with all the explanations, clarifications and comments. But, the training session took place. By then, the sun was already at its zenith. We have finished here. You can go home now. I still have things to do. The children nodded and began to pack their things. And yes, Naruto. Yes, Naruto. I've been taking care of you for a while. But, I wasn't always there for you, I'm sorry. It's okay, I understand. I don't blame anyone for what happened, sensei. Thank you. He nodded and disappeared. Shall we eat? Sasuke suggested. How about some ramen? Sakura agreed. Let's go. Naruto placed himself between the boys and pulled them a little closer to him. Last one to the table pays. With Naruto around. I feel like I'm under the protection. Big brother. Said Sasuke and Sakura in their thoughts. Can you use your power to fly, for example? Sakura theorized as they walked out of the building towards the fork where they would go home. No, that's crazy. I can boost myself a lot with strength, but I can't fly. Hear that? Sasuke's voice. That way, let's go. When they reached the place where Sasuke had heard the scream, they saw an image, a colorful guy in a cat hood holding a child, and a blonde girl with a battle fan on her back. Wasting no time, Team 7 rushed to the rescue. Sakura snatched Konohamaru, Naruto presented a sword to the blonde's neck, Sasuke manhandled the boy's arms, pinning him to the ground with his knee and bound him with wire while still holding him down with his foot. It all happened so fast. If you squirm, you'll mess up your hair. Where's the third one? Naruto asked. But, she didn't answer. I'm already here. Naruto spun around and kicked the girl so she wouldn't attack from behind, and wanted to present his sword at the throat of the stranger who had appeared so quickly behind his back. But what the? The sand protected the guy, but he began to turn to glass and fall to the ground at the point of contact with the sword. You don't want to get into trouble in a foreign village. Sasuke grinned. As soon as I come out, you're dead, boy. Hissed the puppeteer. The girl who had crashed into the fence came to and was shocked to find herself bound by a wire, without a weapon and with a lightsaber presented at her throat. The pre-created shadow clone acted swiftly. Come on, let us go. We're the Cage's children. You're going to get yourselves in trouble, the girl shouted. Did you know that you attacked the third Hokage's grandson? Sakura replied. We just wanted to teach that brat a lesson. I wish he'd watch where he's going. Said Kankuro. What do we do now? Asked the red-haired Naruto. You teachers. A voice came from outside. Baki-sensei. The Sand Kunoichi was surprised. Tamari, Kankuro, Gaara. What are you doing here? Sensei approached them. Please excuse my pupils. Let them go, they won't harm anyone. Until one of our Jonin show up, no one will move. Naruto calmly conveyed to everyone. There was a full attack on the Hokage's grandson. I have no right to let them go. Bucky became nervous. In his head he had already shuffled through several options for his next course of action. He settled on the one of snatching the Cage's sons from the hands of those Chunin, and retreating to their temporary location, the hotel. It's all right, Naruto. You can let them go. The Junin's plan was interrupted by the appearance of the Hokage. Konohamaru, I've been looking all over for you. Why are you running so far away from grandfather? I'm sorry, grandfather. He unhooked himself from Sakura's leg and ran into Hiruzen's arms. Thank you, Sakura-chan. The old man nodded to her. Guests of Suna, hello. We apologize, Hokage-sama. The four bowed. I assure you that this is a misunderstanding on the part of my subordinates. It doesn't matter if it's my grandson or any other villager. They all felt the pressing aura of the Hokage, who smiled sweetly. I consider any harm to my village an attack. But since we are allies, I will forgive you for the first time. All conflicts will only be resolved within the walls of the examination arena. Understood, sir, replied the sons of the Cage. You may be on your way. The pressurized atmosphere disappeared and everyone exhaled. The Suna shinobi left and the Hokage turned to the genin. You have done well, Team 7. Will you participate in the examination? Yes, Hokage-sama. Sakura answered for everyone. The boys nodded. Well, I wish you good luck. Hiruzen lit a pipe and together with Konohamaru said goodbye to the genin. After training with Ezra, Naruto returned home and went to bed. He couldn't sleep for a long time. When he did, he had a dream. Lots of screaming, huge snakes, a scary woman, a guy with bushy eyebrows and the death of the Hokage. Naruto opened his eyes in horror and sat up abruptly. So many incomprehensible things. Naruto chalked it all up to a nightmare. Just then the annoying alarm clock rang and Uzumaki finally woke up. A morning jog, meditation, breakfast. And here he was, in the walls of his home academy. They agreed to meet at the reception. Sasuke was the first to arrive, Sakura the second. They were told to go to room 301 and wait for the exam to begin. The one who designed the academy building, obviously had some kind of abnormality, as well as the one who decided to build this building. Because to get to the third floor, it was necessary to go through a long corridor from the second floor to get to the stairs leading to the third floor. At least, it was only in one building. At the entrance to room 210, in the middle of the hallway, genins were piled up in the middle of the hallway, not allowing two people to pass. A genjutsu had been applied to the sign, changing the inscription, 210, to 301. Hey, let us through, shouted some guy from the hidden grass village. There were a few genin from Konoha next to them, but those either didn't study in this body and couldn't recognize genjutsu, or they were clearly goofing off in public. Team 7 silently walked past those outsiders without even looking at them. Hey, where are you going? Shouted one of the Chunin under the henge. Back off, Katetsu, we're going to the exam. Without turning around, the Uchiha answered pathetically. The Chunin took off their costumes and genjutsu, wished the boys good luck and left. In front of the office, the 7th team was greeted by Kakashi and gave them a couple of reprimands. Sasuke-kun, Sakura, Naruto. Ino rushed towards the 7th team. It's been a month since I've seen you guys. Ino-chan, you're drowning. Uzumaki muttered as he was squeezed between the three of them. Ino, let them go. Shikamaru and Choji approached. Hello, greeted Naruto as they let them go. The friends began a dialogue about anything and everything while quite a few people looked at them with undisguised disgust. Those are Kakashi's students over there, aren't they? Ten asked his. They nodded. They say his team eliminated Momochi. Someone whispered to his teammates. Oh, you're here too. Teammate entered the office and greeted the others. Naruto felt them looking at him and turned to the side. Yukino. The girl wanted to hide her gaze, but the boy noticed. It's been a while. Who is it? Kiba asked Sasuke as Naruto stepped back towards her. Uchiha Yukino of the B class. Naruto has been in contact with her for a long time, didn't you know? Ah, I remember, it was because of her then. Kiba interrupted as he saw Naruto kissing the Uchiha on the lips. So, what's the matter? Naruto leaned against the same wall as her. It's quiet. How are you? She replied calmly. How's the Jedi training going? Sasuke, who had caught the question, just like Sakura, didn't understand. How was he to know? A girl, though. I'm sorry it's been so long. I had training, missions. When I had free time, you weren't home. He scratched the back of his neck guiltily. It's okay, I understand. I'm mad about it myself. He was about to say something else, but Sakura flew towards them and started questioning them. Is she your girlfriend? With both feet. All of Naruto's classmates and Yukino's classmates who were nearby turned their attention to them. Why do you have to shout so loudly? Yukino, blushing, averted her gaze. Naruto did too. Well, sort of, yeah. Naruto smiled awkwardly. How long has it been? Sasuke approached. What did your parents think of it? Don't turn on your older brother, Sasuke. Sighed the Uchiha. I'm actually your older brother. I'm your cousin, though. So, what's the matter? They don't know. I'm thinking of moving in with Naruto. Your aunt will kill you. Smiled her brother. He looked at Uzumaki and then back at her. Does Naruto know? Yes, the boy answered for her. Let him try. Their conversation was interrupted by a bespectacled boy approaching. Hey, you guys are very noisy. He said to all the newcomers. Look around you, there are a lot of shinobi here, and they are all nervous, there is no need to get on their nerves. They won't dare to do anything inside the academy before the exam starts. Shino answered. Yes, nodded the shy Hinata. It's just a matter of knowing. Maybe they're not right in the head. He whispered to the boys. They gathered in a semicircle and began to listen to what he had to say. Well, my name is Kabuto, and so be it. I'm going to share some information with you. What kind of information? Kiba asked. The information that is stored on these cards. There's also something about you. He started spreading them out on the floor. Anyone in mind? Neji Hyuga. Sasuke said. He had noticed this guy a while ago. Let's see. Ah, last year's top graduate. Well, 27D ranked assignments and 18C ranked assignments. A genius in taijutsu and clan techniques, otherwise average. His teammates follow him in academy grades. Serious opponents. He kept that card in his bag. What do you have on Uzumaki Naruto? Kiba decided to ask. Aren't you embarrassed in front of a friend? Kabuto asked. It's all right. I was just wondering what they had leaked about me. So, do you know where the information came from? Kabuto smiled kindly. In every village there are people who sit in the village administration and leak information to the makers of these cards. They sell them to spectators and those who bet on the final tournament. Naruto bragged about his knowledge. Okay, show me. So, Naruto Uzumaki. Team number 7. Completed missions, 8D ranked missions, 1A ranked mission. Wow, they say you're good at everything but genjutsu. Is it true? Without waiting for an answer, he continued. Special skills, telekinesis. Really? Yes. The guy sighed and crumpled the letter tightly, so it wouldn't bother his eyes. Show me something else. Hey, it's worth money. Kabuto was offended. Kabuto was offended. Look, this year. The bespectacled man started talking about the number of participants, who was from where, how many, and so on. The three boys didn't like what they had been told about their village, and the leader of that team decided to teach the brats a lesson. But, Naruto reacted in time, throwing the sound guy against the wall and pinning him against it. His teammates now decided to attack the Uzumaki. But, the young Jedi chained them to the ceiling with his other hand. To say that everyone paid attention to them was an understatement. There was a stony silence in the room, interrupted only by the grunts of the chained men. So that's why I couldn't move then. Gaara smiled thoughtfully. Is he really a genin? Ten wondered. I want to fight him. Rock Lee burst into flames. Stop showing off, nerd. Sasuke smiled. Thank you. Kabuto said. You don't need to do that. Naruto replied, still holding them. In case anyone didn't know, fighting is forbidden until the second phase of the exam. I hope everyone heard me. Yes, we understood. Let them go, hissed one of the sound team. You can let go. Morino Ibiki, the examiner of the first stage, appeared silently next to Naruto. He added louder. One more action like that, and I'll disqualify the whole team. That goes for all of them. Naruto released them. Those managed to group together. About 20 Chunin entered the office. They spread out to the sides to watch. The first stage had begun. The second stage seemed more interesting than the first. All they had to do was cheat and stay for the 10th question. What Team 7 and the rest of the rookies had done. Now they had to survive in the most dangerous place. The Forest of Death. Naruto, what's wrong? Yukino asked, seeing his agitation. His team was close, so he approached Naruto. His teammates also smelled something strange and turned to hear the answer. It's just a matter of knowing. Maybe they're not right in the head. He whispered to the boys. They gathered in a semicircle and began to listen to what he had to say. Well, my name is Kabuto, and so be it. I'm going to share some information with you. What kind of information? Kiba asked. The information that is stored on these cards. There's also something about you. He started spreading them out on the floor. Anyone in mind? Neji Hyuga. Sasuke said. He had noticed this guy a while ago. Let's see. Ah, last year's top graduate. Well, 27D ranked assignments and 18C ranked assignments. A genius in taijutsu and clan techniques, otherwise average. His teammates follow him in academy grades. Serious opponents. He kept that card in his bag. What do you have on Uzumaki Naruto? Kiba decided to ask. Aren't you embarrassed in front of a friend? Kabuto asked. It's all right. I was just wondering what they had leaked about me. So, do you know where the information came from? Kabuto smiled kindly. In every village there are people who sit in the village administration and leak information to the makers of these cards. They sell them to spectators and those who bet on the final tournament. Naruto bragged about his knowledge. Okay, show me. So, Naruto Uzumaki. Team number 7. Completed missions, 8D ranked missions, 1A ranked mission. Wow, they say you're good at everything but genjutsu. Is it true? Without waiting for an answer, he continued. Special skills, telekinesis. Really? Yes. The guy sighed and crumpled the letter tightly, so it wouldn't bother his eyes. Show me something else. Hey, it's worth money. Kabuto was offended. Kabuto was offended. Look, this year. The bespectacled man started talking about the number of participants, who was from where, how many, and so on. The three boys didn't like what they had been told about their village, and the leader of that team decided to teach the brats a lesson. But, Naruto reacted in time, throwing the sound guy against the wall and pinning him against it. His teammates now decided to attack the Uzumaki. But, the young Jedi chained them to the ceiling with his other hand. To say that everyone paid attention to them was an understatement. There was a stony silence in the room, interrupted only by the grunts of the chained men. So that's why I couldn't move then. Gaara smiled thoughtfully. Is he really a genin? Ten wondered. I want to fight him. Rock Lee burst into flames. Stop showing off, nerd. Sasuke smiled. Thank you. Kabuto said. You don't need to do that. Naruto replied, still holding them. In case anyone didn't know, fighting is forbidden until the second phase of the exam. I hope everyone heard me. Yes, we understood. Let them go, hissed one of the sound team. You can let go. Morino Ibiki, the examiner of the first stage, appeared silently next to Naruto. He added louder. One more action like that, and I'll disqualify the whole team. That goes for all of them. Naruto released them. Those managed to group together. About 20 Chunin entered the office. They spread out to the sides to watch. The first stage had begun. The second stage seemed more interesting than the first. All they had to do was cheat and stay for the 10th question. What Team 7 and the rest of the rookies had done. Now they had to survive in the most dangerous place. The Forest of Death. Naruto, what's wrong? Yukino asked, seeing his agitation. His team was close, so he approached Naruto. His teammates also smelled something strange and turned to hear the answer. This forest. It's not simple. There's a terribly strong concentration of power in it. I can smell negative energy in there. Fear, anger, hatred and rage. The forest is saturated with them. The woman behind him paid close attention to his words. A kunai pierced Naruto's cheek and flew away. Enko appeared at his side and licked his blood. Naruto jumped back in surprise. It's people like you who die there. You'd better listen to what they say instead of talking to your friends. That goes for you kids too. Enko smiled. The briefing was over. 20 minutes later, the second stage began. Here's the plan. We join our friends' teams and get the scrolls we need. Jumping from branch to branch, Uzumaki spoke. How will we find them? Sasuke asked. By force. And they will look for us too. Naruto created a shadow clone and let it find its way. Shit. What happened? Sakura panicked a little when she saw Naruto's frightened face. Someone destroyed the clone at breakneck speed. Stay alert. No sooner had he said that than a strong wind whipped through the trio, but they held on with the help of chakra. Not bad, guys. The boys looked behind them, seeing a dozen giant fallen trees, and looked back at the one who had praised them. Your team must be the strongest in the village right now. Who are you? Oh, Sasuke-kun, all in good time, my dear. Hissed the woman. She reached up and tugged at her lower right eyelid. The children felt a terrifying bloodlust, but they could still move, though the shaking was unstoppable. Ha 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 ha. And I like you more and more. He said, seeing no surprise or shock on their faces. Just a little excitement. We've been through this before, you're no match for anyone I know. In a dark cage, the smile of a beast appeared. Do you really know anyone stronger than me? He let out a snake-like laugh. Would you like to meet him? Naruto's eyes changed color and the pupil elongated. Naruto realized that the genin in front of them was not just any genin. They would need all the power they had to overpower him. He kept his cool himself, fighting the fox's anger, fear and rage every second. He had an escape plan for emergencies that required a lot of chakra. I don't mind making new friends. The kunoichi glared, watching as Uzumaki activated his lightsaber. Sasuke ignited his Sharingan with two Tomoe, and Sakura concentrated chakra in her legs and arms. The battle began. Naruto went first, grabbing her by force. Sakura jumped as high as she could and falling, landed a punch to the woman's head, but it turned to earth. Clone, she realized immediately and began to look around. The woman came out of the thicket, clapping her hands. Excellent. If you were a genin in my place, you'd be dead by now. You remind me of an old acquaintance of mine, Sakura-chan. She finished clapping her hands. Telekinesis is a very interesting ability, Naruto-kun. Isn't it connected to your body? Your father came to ask me about it. Apparently it's a hereditary technique. Isn't it? Who are you, and what makes you think I'm going to answer you? He thrust his sword forward. It was getting harder and harder to control his emotions. Fear slowly began to consume him. At that moment, a Naruto clone appeared behind the woman and tried to cut her in two. But he was killed by Kusanagi's sword. You have an interesting weapon, Naruto-kun, where did you get it from? He started to slowly approach them. It's the first time I've seen one of these. Ready? Naruto whispered. Both companions nodded. Sakura folded some seals and threw 4 water bullets at him. She didn't bother to dodge. It seemed odd, but the boys wouldn't pass up the opportunity. Sasuke threw kunai imbued in chakra beams at the ground, so that they formed a square if you drew an imaginary line through them, with her in the center. Raiden. Jala. He doubled the Uchiha seal. The lightning bolts formed a square and from the kunai struck her. Screams seemed to be heard throughout the forest. Naruto swung his sword at her, just to make sure. It stabbed her in the chest, and the boy stabbed it back hard, still not putting it away. Where have I seen her before? Why does she look so familiar? She thought, until she remembered her dream. The guy with the bushy eyebrows was also in the exam. So the old man. Ha ha. Excellent. Naruto's thoughts were interrupted by a man literally emerging from a woman's corpse. Which body should I choose after all, Naruto-kun? Or Sasuke-kun? This thing is impossible to kill. Guys, this man. Sasuke whispered. Yeah, in the pictures in the history book. There's no doubt about it. Sakura agreed. Now I will use a technique that will remove all my chakra. Listen to what needs to be done. Naruto began to tell his plan. Hey, I want to hear it too. Orochimaru appeared next to them at breakneck speed, but Naruto and the others managed to disappear. Really? The evil scientist's laughter echoed throughout the forest. Hello. Naruto said and passed out, still vomiting on the ground. Team 7 found themselves in a small camp. Yukino reacted instantly, weaving Naruto over herself. Sakura offered to help her. Sasuke began to run Naruto's errand. Inform Kakashi that we were attacked by Orochimaru in the Forest of Death, but now we are far away from him. We are in no danger, said the Uchiha to Pakun. Besides, the Hokage's life is in danger. Are you serious? Hug looked at Team 7 skeptically, but noticing that Naruto was passed out, he believed it. Yes, Pakun, let's go. Sakura replied, in place of the Uchiha. Roger that. The dog had disappeared. Can someone explain what happened? Mirai Uchiha, Yukino's teammate, asked. Sasuke. Like I said, we were attacked by Orochimaru. If it wasn't for Naruto, we'd probably be dead. His fourth cousin Uchiha replied. The other thing is how we got here. Naruto used the Flying Thunder God technique. He displayed an unusual kunai with some kind of marking on the hilt. He gave it to me when he started learning the technique from his father. You know, I'm a little offended that you know more about Naruto than we do. Grumbled the Uchiha with a slight smirk. Jealous, murmured another of Yukino's companions, also an Uchiha. Huh, little brother. Sakura sighed. There were a lot of Uchiha here. That's enough, Minami. Sasuke replied with a calm face. We'd better develop some tactics in case we run into opponents. Episode 8. Demonstration of Power. Naruto woke up on Yukino's lap. A cheerful smile instantly appeared on his face. The Uchiha smiled back. Good morning. He sat up and kissed her lightly on the lips. I'm awake at last. A few hours had passed. Sasuke approached them. When will you give us the kunai? When I have them, I will give them to you. Still half asleep, Naruto answered and hit Sasuke's fist with his own. Did you get the message? Yes, Kakashi is aware of it. He said there are Anbu hanging around the forest now. They don't want to interrupt the exam. He also told us not to fight him or we will die. Naruto nodded and took the food out of the scroll. Stop. Who's coming? Mirai shouted, standing guard with Sakura. Ours. Kiba replied. All of Team 8 showed up. Coming through. Come in. Haruno nodded. I heard Naruto was waking up. We were on our way to his house up north, but he disappeared from there. Did something happen? Hinata asked, sitting with everyone by the fire. We were attacked by Orochimaru, one of the 3 Sannin. Naruto said. We had to teleport to the girls. Everyone should be very careful. It is not certain that the Anbu can protect us. The Uchiha poured water on the fire and it went out. Let's go to Team 10 and start the scroll hunt. We have 4 days left. Let's go. Everyone nodded and ran towards Shikamaru's team. They're not alone, Hinata said as they approached them. There's a team from the probe. Ino is injured in her arm and bleeding from her ears. I understand. Everyone get ready. Sakura, Minami, take Ino and the others. Team 10 is a kilometer away. Sasuke, Mirai, take the hairy one. Kiba, Shino, take the girl. Yukino, Hinata, make sure we have no visitors. I'll take care of them. Everything went well. Teams 7, 8 and 5 easily dealt with the sound shinobi, though they tried to do something. But the guys came out with a couple of bruises and a little dizzy due to sound's attacks. Naruto could have dealt with them on his own, but he was in no condition to waste his energy on dirt, and it was good practice for teamwork. The blade teams left the scene of the battle, leaving the sound shinobi unconscious on the ground. Ino, I'm sorry, but with a wound like that, you'd better not participate in the third phase. Wrapping the bandages, Sakura said. The chakra channels are damaged, you need the help of a more qualified doctor. I understand. The girl began to cry, and Sakura comforted her along with Shikamaru and Choji. So, we got the Earth Scroll from these guys. Our team got the Sky Scroll. Naruto started. Yukino's team has the Earth Scroll, and Team 8 has it too. Team 10 has the Sky Scroll. There are 3 scrolls left. Let's go. Hinata spotted a team, and they headed towards it. It was the Sand Village team, which they quickly confronted. There were 2 Earth Scrolls left. The Konoha teams arrived at the tower on the 3rd day. Ino was forbidden to continue due to a serious injury. They said that in a week or 2 they could return to light exercise. And only after a month of serious exercise. The rest of us had 2 days to rest. Congratulations on passing the 2nd phase of the exam. The Hokage began his speech. You all did very well. But there are too many of you to move on to the next phase. What does he mean? Tamari clarified. They're coming to see the 3rd stage. The examination is not only a means to gain rank, but also a demonstration of the strength of the villages. The old man coughed. So you must demonstrate all that you are capable of. Well, it's time for the qualifying battles to begin. The Hokage stepped back from the Jonin and turned the floor over to Hayate Gecko, the examiner for the 3rd phase. The pairs will be chosen at random to fight. But, before we begin, are there any who do not wish to continue participating? This time, the team will not leave after you. A man raised his hand. Yakushi Kabuto, right. You can go, you will be escorted out. Kabuto walked out under Naruto's gaze. The rules are as follows: no killing. Use what you have. No interfering in other people's fights. Interfering will disqualify the interfered. If I decide the fight is over, the contestants must stop. Okay, the first pair. The scoreboard on the wall began to list the names. Uzumaki Naruto vs. Rock Lee. The rest of you, please go up to the spectator seats, there are no seats. Good luck. Sasuke patted him on the shoulder. Smash it. Sakura showed her fist. Be careful. She kissed Yukino on the cheek. Lee, that guy is dangerous, don't get close. Neji advised. Lee, you will win. Ten smiled. All the contestants went up to the bleachers, leaving only the 2 of them with the examiner. Naruto-kun, I expect a good match. Likewise. Ready. Let's go. Hayate jumped backwards. The fight began. Naruto and Lee faced each other in simple taijutsu, maintaining parity. On the podium were all the teams with their mentors. Next to Team 7 were Team 5 led by Uchiha Makoto and Team 4 led by Guy. Kakashi, my student will tear your Naruto to shreds, sorry. Yes, he's holding his own, but not for long. Don't underestimate him, Guy. Hitaki replied calmly, opening his Sharingan to the light. What do you think, Sasuke? Makoto asked, activating her Sharingan. Naruto will win. We trained so hard for a month for a reason, right, Kakashi? Sasuke clarified, watching the fight with his Sharingan. Sakura stood watching as the Uchiha activated their eyes one by one and felt a bit envious. You're not bad, Naruto-kun. Lee attacked with a whirlwind, but Naruto slashed, knocking him down. Rock got up, however. They stayed where they were, hesitating whether to attack first. Naruto tried to grab him hard, but Lee sensed it and tore off at full speed. Naruto, how much longer are you going to be playing? Kakashi asked loudly. It's time to take it off. Guy, Sasuke and Sakura looked at him in surprise. But, their astonishment was different. Lee, come on. Guy shouted, realizing what the problem was. Naruto and Lee jumped away. Rock jumped over the sheep seal sculpture, Naruto jumped to the opposite edge. Uzumaki pulled his pants up to his knee and took off his weights. Lee did the same. Naruto threw them high and Lee dropped them to the ground. The spectacle was amazing. It looked like 4 synchronized explosions of equal power. Kakashi, don't tell me they only wear them for a month. Guy wondered. What do you mean, they? Sasuke, do you wear them too? And on you too, Sakura. Makoto was surprised. None other than her students. We just take them off in the bathroom, said Sakura. To maintain that weight we spend a lot of chakra. Sasuke nodded. We didn't even take them off on the bridge during the battle with Zabuza's assistant. Yes, there was a great risk of developing serious illnesses and even broken bones, but such is the price of strength and survival in our cruel world. Lee started at a lower weight. You too? Guy asked the boys. Kakashi gave us these weights and ordered us not to take them off until he said so. Haruno smiled, glancing furtively at her sensei, who pretended not to notice her gaze. Without chakra, we can barely walk with them. Kakashi, I'm going to kill you. Makoto smiled sweetly. Look, they've already started. Sasuke could barely catch their movements. I can't see them. Trying to see at least shadows, he tried to see Sakura. The rest of the genin couldn't see anything either, except Hinata, Neji, and Makoto's team plus Sasuke. The girls had 2 Tomoe each, exactly the same as Sasuke. And you can't see. Only a Sharingan with a Byakugan can see a fight at those speeds. Without taking his eyes off the fight, Sasuke explained. What is he doing? Lee began to blindfold Naruto in the air, which everyone could already see. Guy, that's a dangerous technique. You shouldn't have taught it to a genin. I don't want to hear you say that. Starting Lotus. Lee and the bandaged Naruto began to fall in a whirlwind. When the dust cleared, a thick-browed man emerged from the crater. Everyone thought Naruto had lost, seeing him unconscious in the crater. But, what? Shouted some people in the stands as they saw Naruto turned into a cloud of white smoke. How clever. I just wonder when he replaced himself with a clone. Sakura smiled. From the moment the weights were removed, it was Naruto's clone fighting that guy. Explained Yukino, who didn't take her eyes off Naruto. You're not bad, Lee. The real Naruto appeared, hiding near the wall of the building. He used a camouflage technique and mimicked the wall. Shadow cloning. About 100 clones appeared next to Naruto. Now you have no power, so surrender. One of the clones went to his back and put a kunai to the back of his head. Lee, you can open up for the sake of your dream. Guy shouted from the podium. It's over for him now. Uzumaki is stronger. Kankuro muttered, remembering their encounter on the streets of Konoha. Something was different about that green boy. Temari disagreed. Naruto, he's opening the door, get ready. Sasuke realized. How did he know? Lee wondered in his thoughts. Kakashi, don't tell me you. Guy gripped the railing tightly. Yes, I trained them to open the first door. He said, without looking away. Lee opened the second door and destroyed Naruto's clone at full speed. Little by little he destroyed the Uzumaki clones, trying to find the original one. Each time the door opened, it was harder and harder for the clones to evade the attacks. At one point, Lee hit Naruto so hard that he fainted and all the clones disappeared. That's what everyone thought. But when Lee cancelled the technique and approached Naruto to see if he had killed him, Naruto turned back into a white cloud and Rock felt he couldn't move. Naruto wore the disguise again. The real Uzumaki approached Rock and put his lightsaber to his throat. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. Hayate announced. The stands erupted in cheers. Even the arena and sound teams were clapping Uzumaki and Lee for this interesting match. Naruto walked up with Lee, arguing somewhat heatedly. Their conversation was interrupted by Yukino, who jumped into Naruto's arms. Lee turned to his team, thanking Naruto for a great fight. "I'm sorry Lee, I didn't prepare you enough." Guy-sensei hugged him crying. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. They have their own atmosphere. Kakashi said to his sons. Next match. Hayate started after the arena was patched up. Uchiha Yukino against Sabaku no Gaara. Be careful, this guy is protected by the arena. The intense heat can turn him into crystal. Naruto's advice. In any case, I'll save you. I'm not a princess to be rescued. Yukino grumbled, but smiled in the end. I'm going to win. I'm happy for you. Hitaki said as Naruto approached his own. Learning from the best. He bumped fists with his friends. I see you and Yuki are very close. Makoto smiled at him. Yes, we're dating. Naruto replied. Oh, you two look so cute. She told you about. Naruto interrupted her. Yes, we'll take care of that. He continued to look at Yukino, who was walking calmly towards the center of the arena. Makoto fell silent, realizing that further dialogue was useless and began to encourage her student. The Sharingan allowed Yukino to dodge most of Gaara's attacks and block the rest. For a genin, she was fluent in the fire element. She even developed her own style based on releasing fire chakra from her fists, which she called Fire Fist. She could literally release a ball of fire from her hand. That's how good she was at controlling that chakra. But, Gaara had an advantage in the amount of chakra. She was able to inflict damage on Gaara and he went crazy. In her moment of weakness due to exhaustion, he unleashed a wave of pumpkin sand on her. Had it not been for Naruto and Makoto with her Mangekyo Sharingan activated, Yukino would have suffered a broken leg. It had become almost impossible to breathe in the tower. The bloodlust released by Makoto and Naruto, spiced by the fox's fury that Naruto no longer contained, stiffened the movements of all the genin and made the Jonin and the Hokage tense up. Even Orochimaru, covered by his transformation technique, watching as Uzumaki forcefully strangled Sand Gaara, noticed how his knees trembled. He himself tried to convince himself that the trembling was due to anticipation and excitement, not fear of the Nine Tails. What incredible power resides in that child? Sannin said thoughtfully. If Makoto hadn't used the Mangekyo Genjutsu on Naruto, Gaara would have died of suffocation. Yukino was taken to the medical room. Gaara promised to kill Uzumaki. Naruto lay unconscious in Makoto's arms. Sakura, on the bridge. Was it Naruto too? Uchiha asked her friend. Before I lost consciousness, I felt the same cold sensation. Sakura nodded, pulling away from her fear. It's getting harder and harder for Naruto to control the fox chakra. Kakashi thought. His senses are slowly making the seal weaken. That guy is way scarier than Gaara. Kankuro whispered to his sister. Better not make Naruto angry, Kiba said thoughtfully. Guy-sensei, I underestimated Naruto-kun. Lee held tightly to the railing. It looked like he was holding back in the fight with me. That's true. Hitaki answered for Guy. Naruto had a gun hanging from his belt that could punch a hole in anything. At least he was fighting without using everything he had. You were lucky to find Naruto as an opponent. I didn't mean to hurt you, Lee. Lee grimaced weakly. Guy put a hand on his shoulder to comfort him somehow. And while Naruto lay behind Team 7 unconscious, several fights took place. Sasuke had defeated Ikato Yoroi by taking away his weights. It took just a couple of punches to incapacitate his opponent. Sakura also defeated Kiba at speed, using only 2 water bullets and taijutsu. By the time Mirai and Neji started fighting, Naruto woke up. He got up from the ground in a jiffy and ran to the medical room without a word. Neji was the first to attack, having said before the fight that the Uchiha would know defeat. Mirai, like all Uchiha, was good with the fire element, which determined her main attack technique, the fireball. Neji believed so he was surprised that the girl did not use that standard technique, but a rather strong water elemental technique, the tsunami, which became doubly dangerous after she channeled elemental lightning through water. Neji was saved by the fact that he knew the vortex technique, a clan technique belonging to the main branch. He spun in place, releasing chakra from the tanketsu that formed a protective dome. Not bad, 3 elements at this age and so much water with no source nearby. It must have taken a lot of chakra. Commented Guy. True, that's her limit. Makoto nodded thoughtfully. Despite the Sharingan, there wasn't much chakra left, which meant Neji had won. But, Mirai didn't want to give in to that arrogant jerk. So she went taijutsu on him, which was a mistake. Neji knocked out all her tanketsu, but she kept getting up every time she fell. Mirai, give up. Makoto shouted at him. You can't beat him. Not in this match. You hear me, even the master doesn't think you're going to win. If you don't surrender, you'll die. There's no way a man like you will die. She spat bloody spit in his direction. Neji was about to stab her in the heart, but was stopped at the last moment by several Jonin and Sasuke. Try it. Sasuke's eyes flashed, along with Kakashi's and Makoto's. Neji, calm down. Guy said, holding his shoulder. Do you have any special relationship with the Uchiha clan? Hyuga hissed, giving up resisting. He got no answer. The winner was Neji Hyuga. Sasuke collected his sister's blood and vowed revenge on him for trying to kill Mirai. The arena was patched up and the next fight began. Minami was a doctor in the Makoto team. And Ten was the Kenjutsu master among all the genin. Despite having Sharingan and no strong genjutsu, Minami was not destined to win this fight. The victory belonged to Guy's student. Minami gave up as soon as a sword was put to his throat. As the fights between the Uchichi and Guy's students continued, Naruto sat down with Yukino. She had not yet regained consciousness. She was under a lot of stress and shock, which was the cause of her unconsciousness. The doctor asked Naruto to leave and agreed to let the boy leave his clone with her. Naruto returned to the beginning of the fight between Shikamaru and Kintsuchi. Are you all right? Sasuke asked. Kakashi and Sakura also turned to him. I'm fine. But, he will answer for what happened. The boy leaned against the railing. It's okay to worry about your loved ones, Naruto. But, you don't want to cross the line or you'll be lost in the dark. Kakashi said wisely. I'm not going to kill him or torture him. That is not my way. But, I will let him know defeat. I'll be waiting. Makoto nodded. Give him a good beating. Shikamaru easily defeated Kin with just a shadow grab technique. Shino took care of Zaku of the sound. Plugging the holes in his arms with bugs, he made Zaku lose both limbs. Shino is a dangerous man. Thought the past genin, taking it easy. Kankuro used a puppet to defeat Tsurugi Masumi, Kabuto's partner. It didn't take him long to do so. His sister, Tamari, made quick work of Hinata, making her hang from her fan. Sakura vowed to avenge Hinata. Last to fight was Choji's bout with Dosa Kinyuda. Choji went flying with one punch. Congratulations to all who won these bouts and I wish those who dropped out to try their luck next time. The Hokage began. You will be given a month to recover and prepare for the final tournament. Enko, you may begin. Take one of each. He approached each genin with a box. Give me your number. Hiruzen said. The boys said their numbers and Hayate showed them the chart. 1. Naruto 2. 10. 3. Gaara 4. Shikamaru. 5. Sasuke 6. Neji. 7. Sakura 8. Tamari. 9. Shino 10. Kankuro 11. Dosu. Bad luck. Shikamaru and Ten-chan thought to themselves. Go get ready for the third stage. Good luck. The third Hokage retired. Naruto told Hiruzen about his dream and expressed his concern about the third stage. The old man listened to him and assured him that everything would be fine. Naruto, with a squeak of his heart, agreed and went to Ezra to inform him of what had happened. His master told him to go home and meditate. Naruto did so. After an hour of deep meditation, Naruto felt the presence of another person. And you're taller than I imagined, said this man, glowing blue. Who are you? Uzumaki interrupted his meditation. My name is Anakin Skywalker, I have come to tell you my story. The Force Ghost sat down in a chair. I was born on a distant sand planet, on Tatooine. The story was long. It was already past 9 o'clock at night. Naruto listened mesmerized to the story of this Jedi, without missing a single detail. Answer me, what did you understand about my story? Anakin looked directly into the boy's eyes. That fate has treated you and all Jedi with harshness. That's an interesting answer. But, not the right one. Skywalker grew serious. He wanted to make an important point. A Jedi's feelings can cause him to fall to the dark side if the Jedi does not fight his fear. You must understand this from my example. If feelings are so dangerous to a Jedi, doesn't that mean they must be denied? That is what Jedi have been taught before. But not all are capable of it. Many have hidden their relationships and some have left the order. And that is one of the great contradictions of the system. After all, feelings, affection for loved ones and the desire to protect them, to protect what you love, that's what many of those who did not give themselves in childhood, joined the order. They became Jedi to protect what they cared about. Their master, Ezra, was like that. Naruto is quiet to think. Your main task is to fight the fear inside you. May the Force be with you. Saying this, he dissolved into the Force, leaving Naruto alone with himself. Kakashi gathered his students the next day. As the three passed the preliminaries, he wanted to pay attention to all of them. However, there was a change of plans. I have found a good teacher for Naruto. You will not be disappointed. After addressing Naruto, he continued, looking at the other students. I, for my part, will teach Sasuke along with Itachi. Sakura, you will work with my shadow clone. The teacher announced the start of the training and handed Naruto a sheet with the address where his new mentor was waiting for him. The friends said their goodbyes and scattered in different directions, unaware that a storm was soon to come.